That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Well, we made it to RV City. This is what the people do Florida Georgia week. Had to experience it somehow. Got an RV. We got our cutouts out here, which means Pei Yan is now evident all over RV City.
Correct.
We got some chairs we just stole from the Georgia folks.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little slingshot with a Gator logo on it, and that's over here, and maybe we'll show it to you a little bit later. And we're talking Florida, Georgia. I was just over at Jags with the Jags, talking a little bit of Jags, so we'll obviously have that ahead as well as Gardner Minshew talks not only today, but this afternoon to the media, but also this morning to Good Morning Football. And Doug Marrone as well updates on the state of the Jags as they head to London and take on the Houston Texans. But this is what it's all about.
Yeah, man.
This
is cool.
is what we sign up for here in Jacksonville, and pretty fired up for it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will be here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday here in RV City on the radio side here on ESPN 690, and then a bunch of stuff coming up on the TV side of things on CBS 47 and Fox 30, and that includes coverage all day long from the morning show to an hour countdown to kickoff, to the game on CBS 47, post-game show, and then we'll finish it up at 10:30, 11:30, midnight, whatever time that is, with a half-hour Action Sports Jax prime time. So, hey, man, this is your first taste of it. This is really my first taste of it like this. I've walked around here before, but to kind of hang out and meet some of the people, and I think we'll meet and greet and see more of them as the week goes along, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my only taste of it was when I would drive to the stadium when I played for the Jags, and I would, take this bridge across, and I would see all the RVs starting to pile up even on a Tuesday. So to actually be in it now and be in the thick of things is pretty cool. My introduction today was when I pulled in the parking lot. There was like this souped-up golf cart, and it had like a plush, giant plush bulldog getting dragged behind it. Not sure if it was street legal or not, but it was pretty aggressive and pretty cool. So, I mean, obviously, if you're here tailgating on a Wednesday, you're probably a pretty big either Florida Gator fan or a big or a big Georgia Bulldog fan.
Well, we're kind of a one-man band, so hope you don't mind, but we need a little promotion as well. We have the cutouts. People haven't seen the cutouts in a while because we've been on the tight shot in the studio.
Yep.
But how about this right here, man? See that?
Oh, I didn't even see the T-shirt over the mountains.
Come on, man. I got some subtle work being done
You
here.
do. I like that.
So there you go, over the mountains. We're going to give that away today. We're going to give away a Gardner Minshew shirt, BreakingT.com. Worked on those shirts. You can also get them on Big Cat Country. And so we will give away a shirt a day here the next few days for Gardner Minshew as Minshew Mania ramps up at least one more time. We'll see how much longer it goes. And
especially even if some of these Georgia fans are Falcons fans, there's not much to cheer about in Atlanta right now, so might as well hop on that Jaguars bandwagon while you can.
And you notice that the Georgia fans make their way in a little bit earlier, right? I mean, it seems like there's more Georgia than Florida right now, and they still expect another 15 and 20 RVs or so. It's sold out. I heard there's a waiting list of 250 people to get in here, and it's just it's a cool scene. So there'll be about 110, 120 RVs when it's all said and done. And look at this. We even got Marcel Robinson.
Carrying some chairs here. Going to do a little chair change.
So we got some help. So now we don't have to steal. See, we had the dogs represented.
Yeah.
We had we were in the dogs' chairs. Stuart won't like that, but we were representing both with the slingshot over here and the dogs as we're sitting in. Hey, how about the World Series last night?
Man, that was that had a little bit of everything, I felt like. It had a little suspense, a little controversy, which you always say. I mean, you always need a little controversy, in the world of sports. And obviously, last night the controversy came full throttle.
Oh, absolutely. I believe. I mean, that it's a big thing. At 9 o'clock, was anybody talking about the World Series? No.
Yeah.
At 10 o'clock, everybody was talking about the World Series, and that's because of that play. And we'll talk more about it. Not going to start the show with it, but we'll talk more about it. And, it brings up everything that the pass interference brings up. Mm-hmm. It's really a judgment kind of call, and should you be able to review them, and should you call them in that spot? Whoa, you're falling right on top of each other.
Okay.
On top of you.
Thanks.
So,
thanks for the heads up, man. That was a great catch.
Well, you didn't listen. You got to put that bag right up close to it. And that That way you don't fall on top of yourself.
Gotcha. Well, that's because I'm so top heavy, just like that cardboard cutout as I am in real life as well.
You
so
are. I mean,
it's very accurate. Yeah.
I said to the lady coming, I said, hey, if a guy comes in here with dreads and beard, he's with me.
Okay.
He might have a taco in his beard. So.
she gave me the VIP access, so I appreciate it.
But anyway, controversy is good for sports. You know, it doesn't matter what is it right? Do you want to always have everything right? Well, some people do. Some purists do. I don't. I really don't. I mean, I'm a human error kind of guy. I don't mind that. I think that's part of sports. I think it should be. And I also think it's okay to rip it when it goes wrong. And I also believe that might not have been wrong.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that. And so there's a lot to dissect here. Was it the right call? Was it the wrong call? Should it be a rule? Is it the right intent of the rule? All those different things that go in. But I will say this. The fact that everybody – see, this is where I think replay comes in general in sports. My belief is, what I always say, if you have to hit the BW3 button, right, and stop the game and say, hey, we need to take a look at that. That's where I think replay should come in handy. I don't need to replay every little thing. I don't need to replay if the guy just moved the ball at the end. I don't think we need to do that. I really don't. Now, I get why we do it, and I understand. I have no defense of the people who say, let's get it right, but I don't think we need to do that. Judgment call or not, though, I do think if everybody on social media last night was like, that is a horrendous call. You could even find Houston people saying at the time, before it was explained in length, you couldn't even find Houston people that said, well, that was the correct call. Yeah, that was the right call. They all knew they got a break at the time, the whole thing. So that's when I say, hey, we jump out of our chair and say, whoa, let's stop this thing and figure this thing out. I actually thought that's what Major League Baseball was doing. Yeah. It turns out that's not really what they were doing, and there's a lot of layers to it. So we'll talk a bit about it. But begin with Jags, even though we're here for Florida Georgia Week. Marcel Robinson just got out of the locker room. Anything new out there, Marcel? Nothing.
Same old.
Just got to beat Houston. You know, here's what gets lost. Thanks, boys. What gets lost in the conversation, I think, of this week, and I want to be careful not to lose it, is we'll have Florida, Georgia, and we'll talk about both teams, and we'll talk about what a big game that is on Saturday here in college football. Yeah. We'll talk about the festivities and the hype and the party that goes on, the pageantry, the keeping it in Jacksonville. We just got done shooting up a really fun story with 6 Jags players that were involved with this game. So we'll do all that stuff. But what I think you got to be careful of is don't lose sight of this Jags game and how important it is. This is a massive football game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everything they did to get back to 500 is exactly what they needed to do. But they needed to do that to put themselves in a position to be able to beat the Houston Texans. Of the next 3 games, this one's more important than any of them because they already have lost the game to Houston. And to get to 5-4 would be a big, big deal for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then it allows you to go to Indianapolis with Foles, with Minshew, with whatever, on the road against a good football team. And you know, if you lose that one, well, that happens sometimes in the division, losing on the road. And then we'll talk about Nashville and Tennessee down the road and what that game might represent. But there's a game late in the season against Indianapolis that you might need to win to go to the playoffs. At least that one's at home. So I just think this is a massive game for the Jags. It changes everything and how you might look at the season and how you might feel about their chances of not only going to the playoffs but winning that AFC South. Because as much as they are in a wild card race, if they lose this game, this actually puts them way back in the wild card race because Houston might be the team that could be the front runner for the wild card.
And, you know, it's funny because it seems like the past couple weeks, Brent, we've been saying this game's the most important game. No, this game's the most important game. Well, I think it's safe to say, truly right now, with the spot the Jaguars have found themselves in at 4-4, that this truly probably is the most important game of the season because the last thing you want to do if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars is lose this game to the Texans in London, have Houston go 6-3, and then have the go 4-5. You know, because I mean, if you lose twice to your in-division opponent, I'm not sure what the odds are. You know, I'm not a mathematician, but odds are that you're probably not going to make the division. Or they're probably not going to win the division.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's a lot on the line in this football game. Jags have the experience of London. Both teams are beat up a little bit. Let's update you on what's going on with the Jags, what comes out of Jags headquarters today. When we come back a little bit later on, we talk more about the World Series and that call and who's going to win. By the way, the World Series, you can hear it right here on ESPN 690 Critical Game 7. You can watch it on Fox 30 tonight. Game 7. Game 7 in sports, pretty cool. And this one's been wild because of all the road victories. How crazy is that? But when we come back, we talk some football, and we always welcome your calls every day here on the show, star 690, or hit us up on all the social media platforms if you want to join the conversation. We are live in RV City for the rest of the week. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Becoming partly sunny, a very warm day today. Record or near record highs in the mid to upper 80s with a few scattered afternoon showers. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's Wedding Band BOGO sale. 4 days only, November 7th through the 10th.
Spay or neuter your pet. Help them live a longer, happy life. First Coast No More Homeless Pets has free and low-cost programs available now. Make your appointment today. Call 425-0005, 425-0005, or fcnmhp.org.
What's up, Jacksonville? Angie here, president of Angie Staffing. If you're finding it harder and harder to find the right candidates, or your ads are letting you down, call me, Angie Staffing, 904-703-8880. I have over 20 years of experience right here in Jacksonville. I can help with anything: accounting, finance, legal, even that one position that's impossible to fill. Angie Staffing, 904-703-8880. We're bringing back the hustle.
Want to hear something crazy? Last month, our friends at Arlington Toyota offered prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. Want to hear something really crazy? Arlington is extending the sale. The 2020 Super Sales Event has been extended at Arlington Toyota. So come in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Camry, it's not $25,555. Now it's only $17,288. That's $17,288 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Camry at Arlington Toyota. How about a 2019 Toyota Corolla? Not $20,485. No, it's $13,888. Yeah, $13,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
When the time comes to get your roof replaced, call Big Fish Roofing. We don't require any upfront deposits, and we are locally owned and operated by Jacksonville natives who have built their business on quality and integrity. At Big Fish Roofing, we know your roof is the first line of defense against the elements, so we make sure to deliver a quality project in a timely manner. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/roofing, or give us a call at 904-685-8334.
See, boss, look at all these great masks, and they got them marked down for their after Halloween sale. These make great disguises for breaking into houses.
Oh, yeah. It's perfectly normal for a big guy in a Spider-Man mask to be lurking around the neighborhood.
I wouldn't be lurking.
Whatever. Just make sure you don't go near any safe-touch houses. Those things aren't safe for us crooks.
Hey, before I forget, that house we've been casing, when are those folks going out of town again?
Black Friday. And since they don't have safe-touch security, we don't have to worry.
Yeah, no safe-touch means no two-way communicator or crash and smash technology, no video monitoring.
And no headaches for me.
Here, look. What do you think of my new mask?
It's definitely an improvement.
Thanks.
You find another house without safe-touch and the mask is on me.
Consider it done.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment Assessment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
Get your Florida Georgia weekend started with Golic and Wingo live in Jacksonville Friday, November 1st at Intuition Ale Works on Bay Street. Come join us for our live show from 6 to 10, where you can hear our show live on ESPN Jacksonville 690. Golic and Wingo live from Intuition Ale Works, November 1st, 6 through 10.
Hey, this is Deontay the Bronx Bomber, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, and you're watching Action Sports Jock Bomb Squad!
First time. Just trying to figure out the best way to handle all the travel and everything, because I do hear that that's, it's definitely different. So just trying to handle it the best way I can. Luckily, basically everybody here has done it, so I get to lean on their experience. But it's something that I am excited for. It's going to be
That's Gardner Minshew talking about going to London. He is on his way soon enough. In 24 hours, the Jacksonville Jaguars will leave the bank, and they will head across the pond once again for a business trip. Brent Martineau, former Jags player, Austin Lane. Coos back in the studios. Thanks to Coos for helping us get the RV down here today, and Nick, and we've got everything working now. And it's a lot of fun to be here in RV City. So, of course, we'll talk Florida and Georgia, what this game means. We'll have Vince Dooley coming on. The legendary Georgia coach will join us on the phone on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 a little bit later on in the show. So plenty of that. But first, let's begin with the Jags. We were just talking about how big a game this is. They lose Marquise Lee, injured reserve yesterday. They've already lost Marcel Darius. Hey, you know what? Part of it is this time of year. I mean, it's football. You're going to lose guys. Don't start feeling bad for yourselves. The Houston Texans certainly don't have any love lost for you because they just lost J.J. Watt. They've been dealing with injuries in their secondary. They've dealt with them before. So, it's funny how when you think of it this way, just how much luck plays a role. The Jaguars got decimated by injuries last year, but a big part of that was they played 16 offensive linemen. Knock on wood, the offensive linemen have been healthy and I think getting better and better as the year goes along for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if they can keep those guys healthy, they've got two quarterbacks that they like, whatever decision they make, and obviously Fournette's a big part of this. If you lose someone else along the way, you deal with it because every team has to deal with it. But right now, I feel like they're in a decent position, even though they've lost a couple of players to injury. And that's a weird thing to say because we know the names like Darius and Lee. Wow, that feels so big and massive. I don't want to take anything away from those guys. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt them at all. But I just think in the big picture, losing some players is going to happen. You can't survive every game without being hurt. And losing people to injury, I think they can overcome those.
Yeah, I mean, this so far so good for the Jaguars. And it's like you said, every team's going to lose some guys. Look at the Los Angeles Chargers right now. They're decimated on both sides of the ball. And this is a team that, I think you'd agree with me. We both kind of talked about, making a pretty deep run in the playoffs, and now they're just struggling to be 500. So injuries happen to every single team. As far as the Jaguars being lucky, well, they did lose their starting quarterback, but I guess the luck kind of prevailed itself a little bit because you found out that you have a guy, a former sixth-round pick in Minshew, to try to shoulder some of that weight. So the Jaguars did get lucky there. And, yeah, it's like you said, injuries happen to every single NFL team. But so far the Jaguars have done a good job of, hey, if some guys got hurt, next player up. And so far it hasn't really, come back to bite them in the butt that much. So it's been good for them.
Yeah, and so now they have to try to get healthier and, Dede Westbrook and all those linebackers, but, nothing crazy when it comes to those guys. That's important. I didn't talk about this as much as I wanted to yesterday, but when you look at a lot of the tape, we do the wall that says it all. So you're looking at, I know sometimes we focus on the defense, sometimes we focus on Yannick, and then yesterday Trey Herndon, and then we've done some Minshew stuff on the wall that says it all. Mm-hmm. Has anything jumped out about this offensive line and how they're playing? Or is it one of those deals where you just don't notice anything and that's a good sign?
You know what? I mean, to me, it's obviously in the run game right now. Because you look at Fournette, I think he's the second leading rusher in the entire NFL right now. And that has a lot to say with the mentality. Because let's be honest, Brent, during the preseason and during the first couple of games of the season, we were talking about how, this offensive line's not getting any push. They're not playing with any tenacity. Well, now they're starting to finally gel. They're finally starting to kind of put the chip on their shoulder a little bit, and it's paying off in spades. So now, if they can keep that moving and everything, I think you got something special there. So to me, especially with that offensive line, the way it's built together, yes, they have Andrew Norwell, who is kind of that big money guy. Brandon Linder is another guy they spend a lot of money on. But you also have, you have some promising young talent as well. Will Richardson, a guy who the Jaguars drafted a couple years ago, who's kind of plagued by injuries, is kind of showing out this year a little bit. Obviously, the second-round pick, Jawan Taylor, who people can say, or if you want to say, that he fell to the Jaguars, say what you want, but it's rare for a second-round offensive tackle to be shining as much as he is right now, and he is. And listen, the thing out of college with Jawan Taylor is the fact that he was that road grader. He is a physical specimen. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. And you're seeing that in the run game. Now for Jawan Taylor, it's just about, kind of cleaning up his technique a little bit with the holding penalties and obviously getting better in the pass game. But I think those things will come with time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Jawan Taylor has been a star for them. If you look at the murderer's row of defensive ends that he's had to face, I mean, it's been an admirable job for Jawan Taylor. And I figured he was going to struggle here or there or somewhere. And, yeah, I mean, he gave up 2 sacks to Cam Jordan. Maybe you could call that struggling, but I think that's just part of the game. I mean, you're not going to go the whole season. You're not going to go the whole season without giving up sacks, especially as a rookie. Like you just said, they have interchangeable guys at right guard. Are they Pro Bowlers? No, but are they doing an adequate job? I mean, I really haven't heard much from them. The problem with the offensive line in the early part of the year was they were making such costly penalties that would erase scores or big plays. They cleaned that up. So I think what happens is, hey, if they were not doing a good job like they maybe in the first 3 weeks, and again, that was a unit that didn't play, alongside each other very much in August. So from a gelling standpoint, it might have taken a while. But if they weren't, we'd be hammering them. We'd be hard on them right now. There'd be a play we'd be like, what the heck, And maybe there's a play here or there that we talk about. But there's been very little conversation the last couple of weeks about the Jaguars' offensive line, and that's a good thing. But I think you also should salute that too. Brandon Linder's playing good football. Jawan Taylor's playing good football. Andrew Norwell struggled at the start, and now I haven't even seen him or heard anybody say his name in the last couple of weeks. Has he fixed things, or Cincinnati and the Jets just bad? Fair enough. I mean, maybe they are. And Cam Robinson might be trying to find himself. And I continue to say the fact that they have 7 guys, I like that they have 7 guys. I mean, they can afford somebody to get nicked up on a play, and you put somebody else in that's now played at times this year. Not cold, not, and keep in mind, even got Shatley back there if he really needed him from a versatility standpoint. And I think there's even a confidence in him. So this offensive line to me is becoming a strength of the football team. I don't know. They're not Indianapolis. They're not Dallas. So I'm not trying to over-dramatize. But we're wondering if it was going to be a big-time weakness. And I think it's becoming more of a strength than a weakness at this point.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's like you said, for the depth purposes. Listen, when it comes to offensive linemen, you don't want like a defensive line where you're going to rotate the guys in, right? But you want to have those swing guys just in case, especially in the middle of a pivotal game, you can plug and play somebody who has experience. So from that perspective, not saying that you hope it happens, but this is football, and injuries happen all the time. So from that perspective, at least if a guy does go down in a pivotal moment of a game, you feel confident with putting somebody back there to take his spot.
How dangerous is Deshaun Watson? How good is he? We've debated. I've brought it up. You really haven't, but I've brought it up and been like, you know what? I mean, is he overhyped at times? Is there, is he really good down the stretch, but he's not great all the time? I mean, does he scare you like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and those Russell Wilson and elite? I still can't get there. I don't put him in that category. Some people around the country do, though. Mm-hmm. And I don't get to that point with Deshaun Watson. Then I look at a play that he made against the Raiders last week, or a play that when they're up against it and they need a play and he pulls a rabbit out of his hat.
Clutch.
And I'm not saying he's getting lucky. I think that's a better word, clutch. He's a big-time player. He did it at Clemson. He did it in the big moments. And all the intangibles, by the way, this guy has always had. He's a likable guy. He's a big-time leader. We know his
winner,
story.
too. I mean, that's the most important part. The guy's a winner.
So all those things, I mean, I guess I just have been so tentative to say, man, this guy is elite. This guy is great. And that's probably more shame on me. I mean, maybe he is, and he's going to be forced to carry this football team a little bit now with all the injuries they have on defense.
He is, and listen, I think Deshaun Watson is going to be as great as his offensive line allows him to be. Because last year, I think he led the league in sacks last year, and the first couple games of the season, it was trending towards that way. Now, the Houston Texans did either make a trade, say it was right, say it was wrong, say they spent too much for it, but they got Laramie Tunzel from the Dolphins, at the start of the tackle. Now, he's been dealing with some injuries, so he's not slated to play just yet. I mean, they're thinking that he's trending towards playing in London, but it's not a guaranteed thing yet. So with his injuries concerned and kind of the whole, offensive line injury concerns in general, the Texans have kind of resorted to, getting the ball out faster now. Which, which if you're scouting this Texans offense right now, yes, they have some pretty good receivers. Obviously, Hopkins being one of the best receivers in the NFL. Will Fuller probably will not play this game. So enter, a big dose of Kenny Stills, another guy that they acquired from the trade from the Dolphins. He's kind of like that slasher guy that can do everything, kind of that jack of all trades. So you start to be mindful of the wide receiving core, obviously. Listen, we broke down the Texans offense maybe about a month ago. I said they're probably one of the best receiving cores in the NFL.
Their receiving core.
And I still think they're up there and everything, Brent. But now we got to keep in mind that the Texans are going to try to get the ball out faster. And if you're that Jaguars defense, how do you combat that? The answer is simple. You got to start blitzing some more. And the Texans know that's probably going to be coming because they obviously watched the Jets game just like we did. And they saw that once the Jaguars started blitzing the Jets, they had more success. Now, with this Texans offense, you have to kind of pick and choose where you're going to blitz at because this isn't Sam Darnold standing back there, right? This is Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson can beat you with his arm and also with his feet. So even if you do blitz, you have to have that lane discipline. And you have to, you have to mind your gap and everything like that. If you can do that and you can, I don't want to say stop Deshaun Watson because it's hard to do, but if you can contain Deshaun Watson, not let him beat you with his legs, I think you have a good shot of winning.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. When you blitz good quarterbacks, great quarterbacks, that can burn you, right? We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Rivers and Brady, and they want you to blitz them because then they're going to pick the matchup.
Yep.
Do you sense he's to that point, or can you still rattle and get to Deshaun Watson at this phase of his career since he's still a young player? He's not super accurate all the time. He can make great plays, but a lot of those plays are creative plays with his legs first, eludes tackles, and then what we saw in that Raiders game. And then, again, I'm not saying he's inaccurate, but he also is not like on point like the Bradys of the world and Rodgers of the world. So can you rattle him with blitzes, or are you afraid that he might kill you with blitzes, especially with a receiver the caliber of DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, it's kind of a hard call, Brent. Obviously, if it's me, you got to put A.J. Boye on Hopkins, and you try to get help on him when you can, but you have to trust A.J. Boye is going to be up to the challenge of stopping Hopkins the best he can. Obviously, having Jalen Ramsey here would be better, but you know what? He's not here anymore, so it's A.J. Boye's job now, and I'm sure he's up to the task here. As far as blitzing Deshaun Watson, can he beat you? I think Deshaun Watson's first couple years, he relied more on his legs to beat you, right? Like where if nothing was open, he would put the ball down and just run. Now you're starting to see a more calm, patient Deshaun Watson, and that can help and hurt him. Say you blitz him and everything, he sees it coming. Well, he's going to try to rely to beat you with his arm even more, so he's going to scramble out of the pocket. The problem, though, is that he hangs on to the ball too long sometimes instead of just taking off and running with it. So from that perspective, yes, Deshaun Watson can beat you, but at the same time, if you hit home, he may hold the ball a little too long, and that's where the turnover starts to happen.
You have got to tackle him if you have a chance to tackle him. You've got to wrap him.
Yeah.
You can't let him get away. I mean, the guy looks like he's 170 pounds. He shouldn't be able to get away from you.
Here's the problem, though, Brent. The last thing you want to do is hurt Deshaun Watson, though, because Alex Magoo is their backup, and we all know how much I love Alex Magoo. Wings right now.
Oh, that would be a bad moment for you if Alex Magoo has to come in.
I would be so torn.
More Jags talk, and Austin led us to a topic. Can A.J. Boye hang with DeAndre Hopkins? Will they miss Jalen Ramsey for the first time this week in London? We'll talk about it next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690, Sports Center update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The trade deadline came and went with no movement from the Jaguars. In fact, the only roster move to speak of is the retirement of Josh Robinson. He's an 8-year cornerback who played on special teams. World Series champ will be named tonight because of this.
And a ball popped up, back of second base. Cabrera is there, calls for it, and makes the catch. And the Washington Nationals have forced Game 7 in as wild a game as you will see.
Clip courtesy of ESPN Radio. The Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros play Game 7 on Fox. The Jags Icemen will take the ice tonight at home. The puck drops at 7 p.m. Tickets are available. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, there's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Halloween is just about here. Plan for the costume and the candy. But let me handle your dinner plans Halloween night. Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Get Renna's Pizza for dinner before the kids go trick-or-treating. There's a Renna's near you. 5 locations: Marsh Landing, Neptune Beach, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, and San Jose. Renna's knows how to take care of your family. They are family-owned and have been in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Get the costumes and candy ready and let Renna's do the pizza on Halloween.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with an experienced real estate team with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Not licensed in all 50 states. Visit rexhomes.com to see if Rex is available in your area. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
What's the fastest way to get behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota? Toyota Rent-A-Car from my friends over at Arlington Toyota. The 2020 models are now arriving at Arlington Toyota, and Toyota Rent-A-Car is the best way to try it before you buy it. Got a road trip coming up, a long weekend with the girls, or a football getaway maybe? Toyota Rent-A-Car at Arlington Toyota's got you covered with an amazing selection of 2020 Toyotas that are road and rental ready. Everything about renting a Toyota from Arlington Toyota is easy. They've got amazing 2020 models, simple online reservations, and staff that's always eager to help. Gotta tell you, the hardest part's gonna be when it's time to turn your rental back in. These 2020s are sweet. Toyota Rent-A-Car from Arlington Toyota is ready to put you behind the wheel of a 2020 Toyota for your next adventure. Just visit arlingtontoyota.com. That's arlingtontoyota.com and get your online reservation started today.
Get your Florida Georgia weekend started with Golic and Wingo live in Jacksonville Friday, November 1st at Intuition Ale Works on Bay Street. Come join us for our live show from 6 to 10, where you can hear our show live on ESPN Jacksonville 690. Golic and Wingo live from Intuition Ale Works, November 1st, 6 through 10.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Josh Robinson came into me this morning and retired. So we put him on reserve retired. He's been awesome for us. I mean, no issues, no problems. I'm going to let him probably talk about it, more. Obviously, it's something I'm sure, my conversation is he's obviously put some thought into it. I have all the respect in the world for him. Tough kid, practiced hard, prepared like a pro, did everything that we wanted. I mean, really. So I have, I told him nothing but the best for him. We're always here for him and appreciate it.
How about that? Josh Robinson retiring from the sport of football. And this is something we cannot put our arms around. That was Doug Marrone this morning. That was news coming out. And this, while doesn't ring the same tune or bell or whatever you want to say as a Telvin Smith, because he's a Pro Bowl guy and a $10 million guy, Another example of it. And we've had many examples of this around the NFL. This is a guy trying to make the team. He plays a corner and the safety position. He's played on special teams. He's done an okay job. I think he's done an okay job, trying to, be a part of this football team. And you wake up on a Wednesday morning and don't want to play anymore. Now, that obviously isn't the case. He tells us they don't want to play anymore. But I'm saying he woke up somewhere in the midst of this. I mean, the London trip isn't that bad. I mean, it's a long flight, but you don't need to retire for it.
Yeah.
Now, if he comes back next week and off the list, then I'll think it was the London trip. I'm just kidding a little bit. And that's probably, I think my first reaction is like most people on these. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Really? Wait a minute. You could play in that stadium, professional football. You got a chance to do it. You're on the roster. You're making whatever kind of money, and you don't want to play anymore? Yeah. But I've really, again, we've talked a lot, and we've talked about all these different issues this year with Telvin Smith and all these things. And I think I have, I don't know about a new appreciation for it, but I think a better understanding. I mean, sometimes just because we want people to play football or we want people to do something doesn't mean they want to do it. And it relates a lot to, like, coaches. Everybody thinks, like, if you're a coach at X school, you want to get to the next school. You want to get to the Power 5, the SEC, maybe the NFL someday. Well, you know what? Sometimes you're just happy where you're at, and that's okay. And you don't have to go that route. So maybe for Josh Robinson, it was like, I'm not having fun playing football anymore. You know what? Maybe after all the talk about Telvin Smith is, I just don't want to play football anymore. Maybe this was brought up a long time ago about Justin Blackman. Maybe I don't want to fix my life and get right and just play football. I don't care about it that much,
Yeah.
And those are all different situations. But that's a tough damn sport, man. You gotta bring it every single day. If you don't have a love and a passion for it, well, it's no different than the place you work. And if you decide someday, I don't want to wake up and do this, I'm going to go try something else. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter the fame. But it's an interesting situation.
It is a very interesting situation, and it's like I always say, Brent, I mean, NFL players, they play the game for different reasons. Some want to win Super Bowls, some want the fame, some want to take care of their families, some want money. It is what it is. With Josh Robinson's case, and I'm sure more is going to come out of this, when we hear from him, but, this is a guy who's been in the league since 2012. And from a perspective of a former NFL player like myself, I mean, I'm here to say that that's a long time to be in the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean, not only because he obviously killed the average, because I think the average is like 2.5 years, but I'm just saying, playing in 4 different towns, 4 different cities, 4 different teams, 4 different head coaches, 4 different kind of cultures, and everything like that. I think it can burn anybody out, So I'm not going to sit here and make, accusations of why he chose to walk away. That's his, job and his story to share when he feels like he wants to share it. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, I mean, the guy definitely earned his stripes. He put his time in, and possibly he was just kind of burnt out from it and wants to pursue something else.
Yeah. So, hey, good luck to him.
Yeah.
Right? And quietly, you're right. This is a guy that's been in the league more than people think he's been in the league.
Correct.
To me, doesn't he feel like it? Because it's just not a name everybody knows, but he bounces around and just feels like a young guy trying to make the team. I mean, he's still a young guy trying to make teams. But, again, it just feels different because it's not these names that, Telvin Smith, 4-year contract, or it doesn't take on that. But anyway, you wish him well. Hope everything's good, first of all, right? Yeah. And then the next phase of it. But like you said, he probably took care of himself pretty good now that he's been in the league for 6-7 years. And that's you're going to end up okay. Well, in the long run.
Exactly. And one thing to keep in mind, too, I'm sure the listeners don't really care, but as far as the credited seasons are concerned, he did earn a credited season because I think he was on the active roster for more than 3 or 4 games. So with that considered, he did get, that full pension year this year, which is important down the long run.
Yeah, and good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
That's always a good thing you have to worry about. Hey, all right, you brought it up. Boyer against Hopkins.
Yeah.
It's always been Ramsey against Hopkins. It's one of the best, made for TV, get your popcorn matchups that you have in football, really. It goes under the radar sometimes, but when Ramsey would play Antonio Brown or Ramsey would go against Hopkins, man, this is a lot of fun. 5 catches, 40 yards the first meeting. Obviously, the controversial no challenge flag from Doug Marrone that led to the outburst, all that stuff. This was the beginning of the end for Jalen Ramsey in Jacksonville the last time the Jags played Houston. A.J. Boyer, I think, is fantastic. I think he's underrated. I love his story. I love everything about him. But he's a different kind of defender against a guy like Hopkins. He's different than Ramsey. Does not have the length, the size, the strength, I think, even of Ramsey. Few people do. Mm-hmm. And that could really hurt you in this matchup from a length standpoint especially, I believe. Is Boye in trouble?
Well, you know what, and listen, I don't want to go in the past and bring up, talk about Jalen Ramsey here, but let's go to the stats real quick. When DeAndre Hopkins played the Jacksonville Jaguars week 2, he was held to his lowest numbers of the entire season. Okay, DeAndre Hopkins is coming off the Raiders' victory, having 11 receptions for 109 yards.
It's good for my fantasy team.
Great for your fantasy team, but as your fantasy team, you're going to agree with this, Brent. He hasn't scored the touchdowns this year like he normally does, right? He hasn't been that red zone threat.
He's been relatively quiet.
Yeah, I mean, for all things considered,
yes.
for being one of the best receivers in the league, yeah. I mean, he's still getting the targets. He's still getting the reception, but I think it's the red zone targets and the touchdowns that are lacking this year. So obviously I think Houston's going to try to get him going eventually. As far as, how do you stop DeAndre Hopkins and what do you do if you're A.J. Boye? Yes, in the past when Ramsey has gone on Hopkins, Ramsey does have an advantage there because he has the length. He's a physical guy that can, kind of push Hopkins off the line a little bit because Hopkins a lot of things at the wide receiver. But the thing that, was kind of the question mark, especially him coming out of college, was his breakaway speed. Yes, he can beat you over the top, but as being a consistent burner, I feel like Hopkins really isn't that guy. That's more of Will Fuller's job, even though he's not playing now. So with that, all things considered there, you don't really have to worry about Hopkins, burning you by 10 to 15 yards. That's not going to happen. He's not the speedster. But as far as his footwork's concerned, his length, his ability to use his length and go up and get the ball, that's where you have to worry about a little bit. And, like you said, A.J. Boye maybe having the shorter arms, being a little shorter on the shorter side, yes, that is going to be in question. And that's where, if you're Todd Wash right now, you have to take a look at that. I mean, yes, Hopkins hasn't caught a lot of touchdowns this year, but who's to say, they're not going to game plan for him to have, 2 or 3 touchdowns against the Jaguars. So I think if you're Todd Wash and you're game planning right now, you have to understand that, all right, Trey Herndon and Kenny Stills. Kenny Stills can be a matchup nightmare because you can kind of put him anywhere. You can put him in the slot. You can put him on the outside. He has the speed to take you long, but he has the speed on the inside as well. He runs all the routes. So that matchup's the one that actually probably makes me a little more nervous because I feel like what's going to happen is if you're Todd Wash, if you're any defensive coordinator, you have to have help on DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. All right? I mean, he's one of the best wide receivers in the league. You have to get that safety help when you can. If you're playing zone coverage, you have to, kind of cater that zone coverage to Hopkins. So, yes, Hopkins will probably get his catches, but the big thing is trying to limit his targets, to maybe 10 to 12 a game. The problem, though, is, like I just mentioned, with Kenny Stills on the other side with Trey Herndon. Trey Herndon had a great game against Robbie Anderson. A lot of that was due to the pass rush of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Going forward, now you have to ask yourself, if you choose to blitz a little more and you have a quarterback in Watson that I think is capable of kind of, beating that blitz sometimes if he sees it coming, are you going to leave Trey Herndon on that island? And is Trey Herndon up to the challenge? To me, that's going to be the biggest question going forward here.
Yeah, and you just answered like every question I had, I think.
Okay.
Seriously, because what I think it's challenging for an offense where you can outsmart yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Do you go to DeAndre Hopkins, who's maybe the best receiver in the game or at least one of, even though you might have a better matchup somewhere else and you could target Trey Herndon and test Trey Herndon? I think the end of the day, if I'm Bill O'Brien and Deshaun Watson, Jalen Ramsey's not over there anymore. And with all due respect, and this is a great game for him to even earn more respect than A.J. Boye. And again, I really like A.J. Boye. But if I'm them, I'm saying, you know what? I think our guy can beat your guy. Even when you had number 20 out there, we still felt our guy could beat your guy, and we targeted him 8 to 9 times. I think they'll test A.J. Boye. It's not like they're going to stay away from him because they want to get the football to DeAndre Hopkins. But how much do they try to take advantage of those other opportunities like you're talking about? And that becomes a game of cat and mouse. Yep. That becomes, in critical situation, a game where you can outsmart yourself. We've seen it all the time. And do you outsmart yourself? And if it works, it's fine because you're a genius. But if they have drop passes over on that other side or Boye plays big, everybody be like, well, why didn't you test Herndon more, right? Or if Herndon ends up playing pretty well, why didn't you throw it to DeAndre Hopkins more? I mean, you threw him only 4 or 5 times in a game, the best receiver in the game. Yeah. So it can get in your head a little bit on the offensive side. It can be very simplistic, but I think it can get in your head.
Well, and here's the beauty of it right now. If you're Todd Wash, if you're the Jaguars defense, and you're scouting this Houston Texans offense, there are a few tells that you can use to your advantage. The biggest one that I've seen so far on the Houston Texans is the fact that Carlos Hyde has been a pretty good back for them this year, all things considered. You know, I mean, obviously it was a nightmare. It was a dumpster fire when he was in Jacksonville. He goes to Houston. He replaces Lamar Miller, takes kind of his spot. But the cool thing with the good thing for Carlos Hyde when the Jaguars are against him is the fact that they only use him in the running game. They hardly ever use Carlos Hyde in the passing game. If you were to go back and ask Adam Gase what he wishes he would have did well against the Jaguars that he didn't do, to me it's not involving Le'Veon Bell in the pass game a little more, because you had some young linebackers that were probably going to be on him. Le'Veon Bell, I saw him for the Pittsburgh Steelers a couple of years ago. The guy was out wide in motions. The guy was everywhere. You can put him anywhere you want.
Great call.
Yeah,
Did he have one catch? Maybe.
I think he had one catch possibly, and it was for like 2-3 yards. Like the fact that Adam Gase didn't use I'm assuming Adam Gase is making the calls here, but assuming Gase didn't use Le'Veon Bell more in the pass game, it's baffling to me. And now you face a Houston Texans team that, yes, they have Duke Johnson, who's going to be that third down back, who it's probably going to be a pass when he's in the ball game. But you can kind of cater your defense a little more when Carlos Hyde is in there, because is he the best guy to block if there's going to be a pass? How is his pass setting not that good? So that's a matchup right there when Carlos Hyde's in the game that you can expose a little bit.
Ballin' and Fallin' coming up next. Action Sports Jax on ESPN690. We're live at RV City. Baker Mayfield gets into it with a reporter, and the World Series goes to a Game 7 in historic fashion tonight. That and more on Ballin' and Fallin' next to ESPN690.
The ESPN 690 High School Football Game of the Week. Every Friday, hear a local high school football play-by-play.
And everybody all fired up here at the Graveyard. Griffin's in the backfield once again.
Same play.
The Vikings give it to Griffin. Over the left side. He'll walk into the end zone. And the Reigns Vikings win the football game over the Sandalwood Saints in overtime on a 2-point conversion.
They just went big on little and basically took care of business.
You can hear the games by listening in your car to ESPN 690 or find the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Just search ESPN 690 Jax.
Save now at Travel Camp RV with payments as low as $107 a month and no payments for 90 days. It's fall fun season, time to get out with family and friends in an RV from Travel Camp, where you get the guaranteed lowest price every time. Travel Camp specializes in towables, which keeps the costs lower and the prices lower than all the rest. Choose from the best brands for as little as $107 a month with no payments for 90 days. Shop now and save at Travel Camp RV.
Fact: about half of all men will experience ED or PE. Fact: both ED and PE are highly treatable. Fact: a safe, effective treatment is just a call away. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our highly skilled doctors guarantee results on your first visit, or there's no charge. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rabinsky. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, the treatments at Prime Men's Medical Center work immediately, regardless of your age or medical history. You'll receive custom-blended medications designed just for you. They're safe and effective with no pain and no surgery. Patients are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, the treatments are affordable.
Men, if you want to last longer in the bedroom, schedule a private consultation with the experienced physicians at Prime Men's Medical Center. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Shop the 904! When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
Check out cool stores like Jacksonville's own Video Game Rescue, a locally owned video game store that features new and hard-to-find retro video games, vintage toys, and they even have a game room with a bunch of classic games and pinball machines. If you have a gamer on your holiday gift list, you will find something perfect for them at Video Game Rescue on Blanding Boulevard.
Shop the 904! Powered by Cox Media Group. Visit shopthe904.com.
Hey, boss, explain to me again why we're here at this pumpkin patch in the middle of the night.
I told you, since pumpkin prices have gone through the roof this year, we're gonna swipe these babies so we can sell them and make a fortune.
I don't like it, boss. Why can't we go back to breaking into houses?
Because so many people have discovered Safe Touch security that it's putting us out of business. You know we stay away from Safe Touch houses.
I know, boss, but stealing pumpkins?
You got a better idea, Sunshine? I mean, between Safe Touch's 45-second response time, the two-way communicator...
Boss, wait! What is that? Over there near that big pumpkin.
Oh, no. Is that what I think it is?
Boss, it's a Safe Touch sign! The patch is wired!
Quick, get to the van!
I'm going, boss!
They must have been monitoring! Curse you, Jackson!
Let's get out of here!
I hate Safe Touch!
folks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
At AutoZone, we're all about giving you more ways to get the most out of your ride, no matter the road. Our free AutoZone Fix Finder service not only identifies your check engine light code, but also troubleshoots the likely cause of your check engine light for free, helping you save time and money. Looking to drive with better fuel economy? Right now, get 2 bottles of Seafoam Concentrated Fuel Injector Cleaner for just $8. Visit us at AutoZone.com. Get your job fast. Restrictions apply.
In the zone, AutoZone.
It's time for some straight talk. You know those football players who are all talk, no show? Well, big wireless carriers aren't much different. Well, Straight Talk Wireless doesn't give you the hype, just the savings. For just $45 a month, you'll get the unlimited plan with 25 high-speed data, then 2G. No contract. All on the same 4G LTE networks as the big guys, but up to half the cost. Savings delivered right to your wallet. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. Get your Florida-Georgia weekend started with Golic and Wingo live in Jacksonville Friday, November 1st at Intuition Ale Works on Bay Street. Come join us for our live show from 6 to 10, where you can hear our show live on ESPN Jacksonville 690. Golic and Wingo live from Intuition Ale Works, November 1st, 6 through 10.
Hey, I'm Jay DeMarcus from Rascal Flats, and this is Action Sports Jags.
You know, I think you don't realize how serious it is about taking care of your body until you're here, until you're halfway through the season and, you know, those games start wearing on you. But, you know, just you always hear it, but really seeing it for yourself is kind of the biggest thing.
Well, that's Gardner Minshew, Jaguars quarterback. Could this be it for Gardner Minshew as the Jags quarterback, starting quarterback for the rest of this season? I think the answer to that is simply yes, it could. Whether you agree or not,
yeah,
it could.
But it could
we'll see
not.
if it is. By the way, we got that shirt over there. You can get it at BreakingT.com. Also at Big Cat Country, we're going to give it away. They sent us a couple to give away. So we'll do that in the broadcast today. We'll also give away one tomorrow and Friday as well. And I might have to keep one for myself.
Nicely done.
Or win it myself. I'll just call in.
There you go.
We have so much fun stuff happening. Thanks to Travel Camp, by the way, for helping us out this week. I wanted so badly to come to RV City, do the radio show, and so we partnered up with Travel Camp and got this beautiful RV. This is like a party RV, but when you see how many seats people you can sit in here?
That thing's legit. There's TVs in there, man. Like, they definitely set us up big time.
It's pretty cool. And so now we just got to throw a party.
Well, absolutely.
Martin and Mark from Vita de Luis, they just dropped off tequila.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We got that. I'm not sure if I'm going to work the rest of the week.
We have all the characteristics right now to
sick.
have a pretty good party, but we have the slingshot over there, so, you know, that immediately gets people's attention. So
it is.
We have all the characteristics of having a pretty good shindig over here.
And I'll probably turn the camera at some time, or we'll show it to you a little bit later. We're going to be here all week, and this will be here all week too. But it's basically it's a cool-looking car with the Gator logo on it. And Polaris makes it the slingshot. Yeah, go ahead, Martin. Turn that thing. Look at Martin playing with camera angles here.
I see him, Martin.
So there's the slingshot. And the slingshot deal is, how about this? Go to @Polaris Slingshot, and they're giving one lucky winner a chance to experience the ultimate joyride. You can enter for a chance to win a ride-along experience during the Gator Walk and 2 tickets to the Gators football game. So you got a couple of chances left in this season to be able to do that.
That's awesome.
But you know, the famous Gator Walk, you basically drive this thing and lead the Gator Walk when the buses are rolling in Gainesville. And you also get a couple of tickets to the game. So all you have to do is go to @Polaris Slingshot on social media, and you can enter to win. And I tweeted it out yesterday, so if you need to go find it out, I'll tweet it out again today, and also at ESPN690 Jax to find more information on that. Nice job by Martin Buckley from Palm Beach Autographs.
Crushing it.
And speaking of, and we got everybody helping us out. Martin from Palm Beach in the Avenues Mall. He's hooking us up with Vince Dooley today.
Yeah.
So the legendary coach of the Georgia Bulldogs is going to call in the show in about a half hour or so. So we get to talk a little Florida, Georgia with Mr. Dooley. So a lot happening here, and good to be a part of it. And hopefully you'll join us all week long. Let's go a little ballin' quick. We'll probably have to put fallin' into the next segment, but how about ballin' to begin?
All right, let's go a little bit ballin' here. So you kind of put me on notice here, Brent, so let me go ahead and bring it up because I didn't know we were going there.
You do that, and I'll tell you my ballin'.
Man.
My ballin' has to be Anthony Rendon.
Yeah.
This is a guy that to be honest with you, I watch a good amount of baseball, but I don't watch like every night baseball and other teams especially. And what a treat watching Anthony Rendon has been in the postseason. I mean, this guy is awesome. Yeah. Just a tremendous – he might be the best hitter in baseball. And there's a lot of guys you can say that about, but he is fantastic. And I can't get over his swing. If you watch his swing, I tweeted this out yesterday, it's like watching Fred Couples or Ernie Els swing a golf club. It looks effortless. You know, you watch like Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, they look like they're going to break a rib swinging. This guy just kind of flicks the ball, and it goes wherever he wants. Such good at-bats, such a good hitter. And, you know, he erased what will likely be my falling in the next segment, and that is part of this controversy. You know, thankfully, the Nationals won, or it would have really been a black eye on baseball. Whether you think the call is right or not, it would have been a black eye on baseball, much like it was for the NFL with the Saints and the Rams game. Again, it doesn't matter what side you're on. The controversy would have overplayed the winning of the World Series for the Houston Astros or the winning of the Rams in that situation. Well, thankfully, Rendon able to hit a 2-run home run and kind of squash all that. The Nationals force a Game 7. I got to give it to Anthony Rendon. I think he's a free agent. They better sign him now.
Yeah.
They better sign him. They can't let Bryce Harper walk and then let Rendon walk.
Yeah, and listen, and we'll see how you feel about the whole holding the bat thing, you know, in that game. That may be part of one of my stay in your lane or pump your brakes segments.
I like it.
Stay tuned to that. But, yeah, that was an entertaining thing to say the least. My ball and Brent, and I'm not sure if you follow soccer a lot, but I'm sure you've heard the name Diego Maradona before. Have you heard that name before?
Yes, I have.
Obviously,
and I don't follow much soccer, but
there
I have.
you go. So it's very topical. So Maradona, obviously one of the most famous one of the most famous soccer players of all time. Played for Argentina. Well, he's coaching now. He's coaching a club team in Argentina. And I guess when you're the king, you can coach like a king. At one of the games, they set him up with literally a throne to coach from. So a few days ago, he was on the sidelines coaching his soccer team, sitting in a throne. So there you go. Ballin', to say the least.
Someday for LeBron James.
Someday for LeBron James. And someday, Brent, hopefully for me and you as well.
Yeah, well, maybe we should do that.
There we go.
Maybe we should do. We just got a fold-up chair. That's all we have.
Absolutely.
But we do have ourselves over our shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we got that going for us.
There we go.
We have cloned ourselves this week.
Yeah.
There's a couple of us. And how about we give away that shirt when we come back? The Over-the-Mountain shirt, Gardner Minshew. We're going to give it away. And, of course, we talk more football and a little bit World Series with the Ballin' and Fallin' on the way back. Right after this on ESPN 690. We're live from RV City and a half hour away from Georgia legend Vince Dooley joining the program.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website vidadelouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to vidadelouis.com.
At Action News Jax, we're here for severe. When storms threaten, put your trust in the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Team, led by Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish, rated the most accurate for the last 13 years.
The First Alert Weather Team is the only team of certified meteorologists in the Jacksonville area. That means we have the most schooling and training to forecast and predict severe weather. And that experience will keep you safe from a storm.
Action News Jax First Alert Weather on CBS 47 and Fox 30.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. A champion will be crowned tonight in Houston. The Nationals and Astros clash in Game 7 of the World Series. Max Scherzer, who missed his Game 5 start with neck spasms, gets the call against Zach Greinke. That pitching matchup, the first Game 7 in World Series history with former Cy Young Award winners as opposing starters. And there are several questions when it comes to Scherzer, notes ESPN's Tim Kirkjian.
Is he completely healthy? Are we sure about that? He's pitching on 7 days rest. How is that going to work? Is he going to be the dominant Max Scherzer? Because if he is, he's going to win this game. But if he's rusty and he's still injured, we don't know what's going to happen then.
Coverage of Game 7, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. NFL Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield stormed away from his interview session today after taking issue with a reporter's question about a drive at the end of the first half of the loss to New England. Mayfield acknowledged shortly after on Twitter he's frustrated, his sense of urgency is at an all-time high, and it's too bad if he offended anybody along the way. Cleveland's 2-5 has lost 3 straight.
Don't let the big talk from the big wireless carriers fool you. Straight Talk Wireless runs on the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost. Get the unlimited plan with up to 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G for just $45 a month. No contract. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN690 and ESPN690.com.
I think you like to feel like you have an advantage, when you do it. But I would say that, our advantage comes from the guys in the locker room, having done it before. I think, Milo and Scott and the doctors, there's always a lot of science to everything, but it still goes back to the individual player.
Yeah, it does and it doesn't. I mean, the Jags have figured out the science part of London. They have done a good job at that, and that is important because, I don't know, I think everybody travels by themselves, and I get what Doug's saying. Yeah, it goes to the individual player and how you feel and how you take care of your body and how much you hydrate on a plane and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, a lot of this science has been proven. They know, hey, sleep now. Try to sleep now. Yeah. And so that's a tough thing to do. They want, again, I've been on that trip 5 out of 6 years. They want you to sleep. That's why they leave at like 7 o'clock at night, Eastern time, sleep on the way over. And when we land over there in London, well, then now it's 8 o'clock in the morning. You get up and you have your day. Yeah. So there is a science to it, no doubt about it. Hey, Martin Buckley on the camera work. He's got the Vita de Luis and all the, you got the Vita de Luis. You got the Reposado, which just came out, and Yeho, which I'm getting better and better at speaking and saying.
Sounds good.
And so we got some new brands here. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Mark and Martin are here, and they also brought us Chick-fil-A, which was a big win because I haven't eaten a thing all day.
Absolutely. Well, they also brought me like a chicken salad, which is big for me because now I can actually eat it as opposed to, try to go to training and have some chicken sandwiches in my belly. Probably not the smartest thing. But getting back to the topic real quick, Brent, like you mentioned, of, getting adjusted to playing in London. I understand. Some people want to say the Jaguars playing in London, it's not a home game. But it really is because they have the distinct advantage because they played there so many times now. They know how to approach it. They have it down to a science, and they figured out the right, winning formula, you would call it. And keep in mind, this is Houston's first time going to London. Houston doesn't have the luxury of playing in London every single year, so they're not really accustomed to what to expect there. And I always go back to 2017, and we mentioned it before on the show, when the Baltimore Ravens took on the Jacksonville Jaguars. An important game to me because I had Baltimore Ravens in fantasy football for their defense. Well, Jacksonville put up 44 points against them, and they only scored 7. So from that perspective, and Coach Harbaugh said, we were not ready to play this game.
Yeah.
So
that was a butt whooping.
So even though the Jaguars aren't playing in TIAA Bank Field, it still is an advantage because now they're accustomed to it. They know what to expect. In Houston, on the other hand, their first time going over there, so the Jaguars definitely have the advantage.
Do you think it would have been you would have struggled playing over there? Being ready, 100%, all that stuff?
I'll be honest.
I know you haven't been, so it's kind of hard to say. But
it's hard to say, but, even playing on the West Coast, it can affect you a little bit. I'll never forget my rookie year. I believe we went to San Diego, and we actually left Saturday. We left Saturday for the game on Sunday on a West Coast game. And we went over there, man. Like I was not sleeping well. No one was really adjusted to it. We didn't have time to get acclimated. And by the time we played San Diego, well, I'm sure you can guess what happened in that game. It wasn't pretty. So
it wasn't pretty a lot.
Yeah, so I think anytime you spend, that long time in a plane from your body standpoint of, you built the inflammation, you're on a different time zone, all those things can factor into how you perform on the field.
Yeah, I think I've always said this. Some days people go to work and they don't feel great, right?
Sure.
And can you imagine playing football when you don't feel great, though? Can you imagine playing this game when you don't feel great? I think, everybody goes to the Michael Jordan game, right? And 63 points. And, okay, I get it. I mean, that's tough to do, too. But he ain't getting hit 50 times a game. That's a little different. Now, you use a lot of energy. It's a totally different – we can go back and forth.
Sure.
But, I think even playing – sometimes I would play golf. I have my sinus stuff. And the worst thing in the world is playing golf with your sinus stuff. No, seriously.
Okay.
Like, you think about guys that have allergies. Heck, Steve Elkington was allergic to grass, and he was a golfer.
Wow.
Tiger has a lot of that stuff. I think
Sure.
players have that stuff. But I'm just saying the simple things that can kind of throw you off and you don't feel that well.
Yeah.
And then I go to this game right here that you play, and if you wake up and you have a headache or you got a stomach virus like Leonard Fournette had last week, man, that's just a totally different thing, and you respect the heck out of it. Hey, we're going to give away this Gardner Minshew shirt, Over the Mountains, a little Uncle Rico, BreakingT.com, and go to Big Cat Country, and you can also purchase the shirt as well there. So they gave us a few to give away. We're going to do that this week. What do you think? How about caller number 6, because he will win Offensive Rookie of the Year for a 6th time this season.
I like that.
Offensive Rookie of the Week.
I like that, and I think the Jaguars should also increase their offer to pay Jan by at least $6 million per year. So there we go.
Very good.
I
good
like that.
Yeah. Whatever we can do to tie things in, we are going to try to do it. 904-362-9901 or star 690. 904-362-9901 or star 690 is the number. All right, let's continue with Fallen, and hopefully that doesn't mess Coos up, because I know we have a little Baker Mayfield as well for your Fallen. While Coos answers the phones, I'll talk about mine.
Yeah.
It's the World Series, and it's the rule, okay? It's not necessarily the umpire. I think if you want to let's just go real basic here, because I've talked a lot about it on social media. I think everybody's talked about it today in length. The bottom line is most people would say they got the call right as a judgment.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily wrong, but it wouldn't have been wrong if they didn't call it either. So it's a judgment call. So it's kind of one of those things where, well, I think Verducci last night used the example of charging in basketball. You may see it as a charge. I may see it as a block. Pass interference. You may see it as offensive pass interference. You may see it as a no call or defensive pass interference. That's a judgment call. That's why they don't review them.
Yeah.
But to me, the intent of this rule, having played baseball, having seen it, is the play that a slow roller or a bunt or something like that comes out in front of the dish, and the catcher has to throw to first base. And in that line is the runner, and you have to give him a throwing path. That's where this whole rule came from, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people argue it's to save the first baseman from being hurt, also protect the first baseman who can get bowled over by the runner. Understood. But the intent of the rule of when you call the runner out is really when he's in that line of fire. Now, sometimes it happens with the pitcher rolling off the first base side, has to spin and fire, and the guy, a little slow roller down the first base line, and the guy has to once again go through the runner with the ball. Whether you agree with the call or not, I think, first of all, 90% of America jumped out of their chair, whether they were an Astros fan or not, and said, what the hell is that? Yeah. Why are we doing this? What? That was a bad call. And I was in that 90%. I didn't like it, because I just don't think you call that right there, even if you want to dissect slow-mo by slow-mo, rule book by rule book, that it is technically the right call. I don't think it's the nature of why that rule is put in play. The nature of that play, again, is what I just said, that slow roller down the first base, the one where the catcher throws. This was a ball that was basically down the third base line. There was no angle that was difficult to get the ball to first base. So my big problem with this rule is you have to try to decipher when you're going to aid a bad play. So essentially they gave the defender, which is the pitcher in this moment, because he threw a bad ball to first that was offline, you actually bailed him out, because the runner bang bang was crossing the bag and hit the glove. Now, what other people would say is, hey, if he was in foul territory, which is where he's supposed to be, which means he would lose a step because he has to veer out on a hit that's right, like a bang-bang play, which also doesn't seem to make sense. Mm-hmm. Well, then he would have not hit the glove. I don't agree with that. I think the glove came through the foul line, and actually there was such a bad throw that he would have taken the glove off even if he was in foul territory. So we would have had the same situation, although they wouldn't have called him out because he would have been running down the right base path. My question to everybody is this. If that ball was hit the shortstop or actually to the third baseman, would the umpire have made that call? And I think no. I don't think he would have. But because it was kind of in between third base and where the catcher normally would get a ball like that, I think it brought the umpire's decision-making into play. And I think you just have to ask yourself that. If the ball goes to shortstop or third base, would that same call have been made? Because where this guy fielded the ball was not the nature of this rule, not why you call this rule. And it could have cost the Nationals. Fortunately, it did not. Even if Sam Holbrook, the umpire, is correct on the call, I don't think he should have made the call.
Well, and my issue is the fact that you're not doing Turner any favors here because he did nothing wrong. The guy literally ran in a straight line like he's done a million times, playing the game of baseball, and you're going to penalize a guy for doing what he's supposed to do. That's where I have a problem with it. And the fact that if you watch the slow-mo, it looks like his foot hits the base before the ball even gets there.
It's pretty close.
So the fact that his foot can hit the base before the ball even gets there, and then you still call him out because he interfered with the glove, it's absolutely ludicrous to me. And it was a bad look to have, him mic'd up then saying, go ask Joe Torre, and Joe Torre's got his head down in the stands. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it was a black eye for baseball, and it was a black eye for Joe Torre because I get it. He has a job to do. I mean, his job is to manage, the umps and the officials and everything like that. I understand that. But he did himself zero favors by trying to break down the explanation of why he was called out in the first place.
Here's where I disagree with that a little bit, though. It's not necessarily a black eye if you made the call that is the correct call. What I think it is, the rule book and the interpretation and the judgment defies logic, right? When you have a play that defies logic, something needs to be changed. One, you don't make the call as an umpire because it's not blatant. There was nothing blatant. There was nothing that he was on the grass for 3 feet. There was nothing that he bowled over the guy. Again, he did nothing wrong, to your point, as the base runner, other than he didn't take a step out of his normal path to the foul line and get him that line, which would have then cost him a step or two, right, in the pursuit to get to first base. So that's where I think, although you can tell me by the book, MLB Umpires Association tweeted last night, it was the correct call. You can stand on your high horse and say it's the correct call. My point is, I bet that happens 10 times in the regular season, and I bet maybe once and probably none does it get called in the regular season. And so if it doesn't, well, then don't call it right here in this moment. I don't think Houston would have complained if you didn't call it. See, and that's always my judgment on it. If they did not call that, I don't think the catcher, I don't think the pitcher, I don't think A.J. Hinch would have even come out of the dugout because it didn't look like it was interference. Then they start breaking it down, and you tell me that, okay, well, because he was a foot over here instead, and by rule, even though it defies logic, well, we were actually right. There's one other part of this, too, and I think the part that Joe Torre, and I have his statement here. We don't have it on sound, and anyway, it's better to hear it, I think, and see it. It's like 400 emails deep, so hold on a second. Here's the Torre explanation. Torre said Turner was called out because he interfered with Gurriel trying to catch the ball by running into Gurriel's glove. Okay, well, let's stop there. He didn't run into the glove. The glove ran into him because it was a bad throw. He went on to say that had Turner run in the proper lane outside the foul line, he could have avoided hitting Gurriel's glove. And this is where I disagree with Joe Torre. Joe Torre might be able to say, okay, that's the rule, but you cannot convince me that if he was in foul territory, he wouldn't have hit the glove. And I don't know if I'm alone on that, but you can't convince me that. I think that throw went all the way through that foul line. So even if he was running in the right space, by rule, you would have still hit the glove. So anyway, we have this. I don't know what the solution is either. And then the other part of it is the replay, right? Yep. The whole replay part of a judgment call. And I'll just go back and say what I said at the top of the show. And anytime we have these discussions, I'll say, if you literally jump off your couch if you start swearing on social media and you don't even have a dog in the fight, well, then that needs to be reviewed. That's what review should be there for. Review should not be there for ticky-tack stuff, in my opinion, but if it's going to be, fine, because you want to get it right. There are so many people that want to call balls and strikes right with robots. Well, if you believe that, then how this cannot be reviewed is ridiculous. If there's a play, judgment or not, that you jump off the couch and say, what just happened here? You have to be able to go review that play. And they were not allowed to, and there was a ton of confusion on all that stuff. And I still believe the confusion, if it wasn't reviewable, why did the umpire signal out? Yeah. Some people say it was for the home fans. Well, he still shouldn't have signaled out. So there was a lot of stuff going on with the operation of that play that was very confusing. Torrey did admit that it took too long. Yeah. And I thought it was an excellent explanation from Torrey, if you watched it afterwards, that he said, listen, we tell the coaches, the managers, that if there's a play that you're not sure is the rules being applied correctly, you can go to the headset. I didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. And so I think that's what Davey Martinez did. And then they rightfully went there. The only problem is it took like 4 minutes. Yeah. You know, that was the big thing in question. I also have no problem with Davey Martinez acting a fool there. I mean, I would have been out of my mind.
Rightfully so. But how cool was it to the National hit a home run right after that? Then,
well, and it saves everything.
Ball doesn't lie.
Hey,
you know
it gives us a great talking point. It doesn't impact the baseball game like we thought it might.
Yeah.
And we get to a game 7.
The Nationals still won.
Yeah.
So,
and a little bit later,
right in the world.
A little bit later, was it Max Scherzer, Greinke, Astros at home? No, I said it yesterday, right? There's no such thing as home field advantage in the World Series. 6 times
like
in a row on the road has won it. Unbelievable. Hey, we'll talk more about Florida, Georgia, RV City, and a little Baker Mayfield. We'll get into that next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Becoming partly sunny, a very warm day today. Record or near record highs in the mid to upper 80s with a few scattered afternoon showers. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's Wedding Band BOGO sale. 4 days only, November 7th through the 10th.
Halloween is just about here. Plan for the costume and the candy. But let me handle your dinner plans Halloween night. Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Get Renna's Pizza for dinner before the kids go trick-or-treating. There's a Renna's near you. 5 locations: Marsh Landing, Neptune Beach, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, and San Jose. Renna's knows how to take care of your family. They are family-owned and have been in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Get the costumes and candy ready and let Renna's do the pizza on Halloween. Save now at Travel Camp RV with payments as low as $107 a month and no payments for 90 days. It's fall fun season. Time to get out with family and friends in an RV from Travel Camp, where you get the guaranteed lowest price every time. Travel Camp specializes in towables, which keeps the costs lower and the prices lower than all the rest. Since 1982, they've helped more families make more great memories. Shop now and save at Travel Camp RV.
Hey everybody, Trey Wingo here from Golick & Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest growing sports station in Jackson. It's clear Northeast Florida has great taste in radio. I mean, you're listening to me every morning, right? Join the ESPN 690 team and get your business notice today. The First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get your business in front of them. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Do you know a child that is deaf or blind? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine offers a tuition-free educational program to prepare the child for a lifetime of success. FSDB offers free comprehensive education, transportation, and boarding services at no cost to all eligible deaf or blind students elementary through high school, no matter where you live in Florida. Call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdb.k12.fl.us to find out more.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Shop the 904.
We're local, you're local, shop local.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
Shop the 904 and help keep our community unique. Get your favorite locally owned business featured on this radio station and on the Shop the 904 website. Simply visit shopthe904.com and leave us some information and help us share the love for local businesses.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group. Visit shopthe904.com.
Peace of mind. It's one of the most important things we can have, and sometimes the most elusive. I'm Glenn Levine from the law offices of Anna John Levine. Car accidents can turn your life upside down. Your car is damaged, you're in pain, injuries can even create problems at work. While there's no magic wand, our team is ready to get you back on your feet as soon as possible. Call the law offices of Anna John Levine at 904-600-4000 for a consultation. That's 904-600-4000.
Office in Jacksonville.
Stephen A. Smith.
Freddie Kitchens is clearly in over his head. You can slice it any way you want to. When are we going to figure out the reality that the Cleveland Browns don't know how to play football?
The Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and on your smart speaker.
Not really. I mean, you just got to start it early in the week. You know, start your hydration, make sure you're sleeping early in the week, make sure you sleep on the plane, and then you can't take any naps on Friday. You know, you got to stay up all the way to where you can sleep through the night. So just a few things like that.
Well, that's Gardner Minshew talking about making that trip across the pond, and, of course, the Jaguars will do that tomorrow night. Hey, reminder, we will have Jaguars All Access tonight at Mellow Mushroom in Avondale. Calais Campbell, A.J. Boye. Looking forward to asking A.J. just about this secondary and also about this matchup with DeAndre Hopkins, where he'll be the main guy going toe-to-toe against Hopkins. Brent Martineau along with Austin Lane. Coos back in the studio. We are live at RV City. This is it, people. Florida, Georgia. Awesome week ahead. Beautiful weather right now. We're going to be in RV City for the rest of the week. Thanks also, we do want to mention to Joytel. And Joytel is a local company that has helped set us up with the internet and the ability to go live here from RV City. So pretty cool. We appreciate everything they've done. More on Joytel coming up throughout the week and also later in the show, and how you can have them meet any of your needs. All right, man, let's finish up falling. We've got John Bachman back in the studio, so we'll catch up with John. We have Vince Dooley on the way in a few minutes. Martin Buckley from Palm Beach Autographs and Vita De Louis also here. I mean, we just got a party going on.
Absolutely. So my fallen, well, there's no party right now happening in Cleveland, Brent. Cleveland, along with me and myself, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, I had them pegged to win the AFC North, and right now they're 2-5, and Baker Mayfield is a big cause of that. Let's go to the audio real quick to hear what he had to say with the media questioning some of his decisions.
Penalty happened and we're the behind the chains. No, stop saying but. I just told you the clock was running and we had a penalty. You want to give them the ball back? No, you don't play. You don't know it. That's just plain and simple.
Were you happy with that drive?
Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. It's the dumbest question you could ask. What?
So not a good look for Baker Mayfield, because you're showing that the media is getting to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's starting to be an issue where you have to storm off. You have to question if they ever played football before. Baker, that's not your job to do. Your job is to answer the questions in a professional manner. If you don't like the question, just say next question. You know, that's all you have to do. You don't have to personally attack somebody. And listen to me, Brent, taking the side of the media over the player right now.
Yeah.
Are you getting proud of me?
He's turning.
The
twist is
slowly
happening.
but surely.
Don't get this twisted. It's happening.
Slowly but surely. But listen,
have you had some of that Vita De Louis in the break? Is that what's going on here?
That might be it. No comment. Exactly. But getting back to Baker Mayfield, though, like, listen, obviously the Browns are struggling right now. They had all the hype going into the season, and for whatever reason, they're not putting it together. People want to say, it's because Baker Mayfield's doing all these commercials and he's everywhere. He's kind of wearing himself out thin. Well, Aaron Rodgers is in a lot of commercials, too. He's
playing
okay.
Just
fine. Yeah, so, I mean, it's not the commercials that's doing it. It's just he's a young quarterback who's taking his lumps right now. But the biggest question for Baker Mayfield is, how do you respond to it? And with the interview we just heard, not so well.
Young guy that will look back at this moment and be like, that wasn't good. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And he's an emotional guy, and he wears that emotion on his sleeve, and he's an arrogant guy and a cocky guy. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it can turn on you sometimes. We saw it with Alex Bregman yesterday. We're going to get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Bregman's the same kind of guy, just in baseball, and it hurt him yesterday. And he had to go back and apologize about it. Now, I did read something that him and this reporter have had this back and forth, a little bit of a history, so that might have set him off too. We don't know the full context of it. And I got to be honest with you, as someone in the media, I have no problem with guys coming back at you. You know, this is genuinely was one of my fun things about covering Jalen Ramsey. He would challenge you now. He would make you think about a good question to ask or a different way to ask it or whatever. He wouldn't just go with the flow sometimes, depending on what mood he was in. So I kind of like that. I don't mind that. I think it's part of it. So I'm not all like, oh, my gosh, look what Baker Mayfield just did. I know everybody's going to run with this because it's not a good look. But I kind of would brush this aside from a Mayfield standpoint.
Of course. And to say like he's an emotional player, he shouldn't be like that. Listen. You can be an emotional player even at the quarterback position, which has a double standard. I think one of the best quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl that I went against was Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, man, when you play against him, he'll say things to the defensive lineman that will just like leave your jaw wide open. Not saying like he's cussing or anything, but he's so passionate, and it's so uncharacteristic for a quarterback to kind of go off the deep end. Well, Phillip Rivers does that, but you know why he does that? Because he uses it to his advantage. He's an emotional, passionate player, and you can be like that, Baker. I'm saying you can for sure, but you got to keep in reason when you're off the field. That's the most important.
Yeah, it might lead a little more equity too, and more good play, and more years in the NFL before you can do it. The guys you were mentioning. Hey, let's bring in John Bachman real quick. Action News Jax, CBS 47, Fox 30, happening tonight. What you got, Johnny Box?
Hey guys, thanks for squeezing me in. We've got some breaking news actually out of JHA. If you've been following the news lately, there's been some investigations into the suspended head of the Jacksonville Housing Authority for a whole bunch of sexual misconduct allegations. Well, they held an emergency meeting today. The board of JHA did, and Danny Bazzini, Action News Jax, Danny Bazzini is there, and she's reporting classic back and forth in government agencies. Ready for this? So they were holding this board meeting, presumably to fire McKinney's. Well, at just about 15 minutes ago, his attorney informed the board that he had retired as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. The board said, no, we haven't accepted it yet. And then 2 minutes later, the board voted to fire the now former CEO, Fred McKinney. We're going to have a whole bunch more on this coming up on Action News Jax at 5 on CBS 47, Fox 30.
Sounds like a big story, man. Appreciate you hanging around. Thanks for jumping in for a few minutes. 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock, CBS 47 and Fox 30. And then tonight at 7 o'clock, we'll have Jaguars All Access, Calais Campbell, A.J. Boye. That's on Fox 30, followed by Jags Wired, then the World Series. You can take the 10 o'clock show off tonight, Bachman.
Oh, man, I wish. We got to stick around just in case something happens late tonight. Could be really early tomorrow morning, actually.
You're right. I'll see you back there tonight, or maybe I'll just be live from RV City. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a tough job. I feel it for you today.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys, thanks.
All right. Hey, now we got guests all over the place. Vince Dooley coming up in a moment. And right now, Martin Buckley from Palm Beach Autographs and Mark Lowry from Vita de Luis stopping by. They brought us Chick-fil-A, man.
I know.
We got to get them on. And hopefully their microphone works. If not, I'm going to kick you out. What's up?
Okay.
Yeah, hang on a second. I got it. There we go.
You got us?
I got you. Operator error.
We're craft services today.
Yeah, there we go. Good. Yeah, you guys did a good job. All right, got to tell me a little bit. You showed us earlier. We got the new Vita de Luis. Hold them up, Austin.
You got it.
You're going to be our Vanna White
I was going to say, call me Vanna White. You got it.
So tell us a little bit about this new stuff.
Yeah, so if you remember back in May, we called you from Mexico.
I remember.
And this is
Didn't
what
invite
we
me on
were
the trip,
on.
but at least you called. And I got your postcard,
Good thing we
too.
called you early that day. We were working.
So añejo is the right way to say it.
Yep.
Añejo. And reposado. What's the difference?
So reposado. So basically, we start with the Blanco tequila. Then that's what that's the primary brand.
Sort of the base for everything.
Yeah, and then they take the Blanco and they age it in barrels. They might add a little flavoring, and the reposado is typically reposado actually means rested. From I've heard from my Spanish-speaking friends. But the reposado, which has the red flag, is typically rested from 2 months to a year. So it could be any time in that period.
All right.
And then the Añejo is aged a little bit longer. It's a little darker. It tastes a little more oaky like the barrels.
Okay.
And that's typically from a year to 3 years.
And the reason you'll get that coloring is
Hold
because
that a little closer so everybody can hear you.
as it's in the barrel longer, as it gets warm, the barrels will take the Blanco in, and then as it gets cold, the barrels will push it back out, and that's where it gets the coloring from. That's where it gets that color. It's actually from the barrel.
You guys have learned so much about alcohol in the last months. I'm telling you, like you didn't know this much back in college, did
Google
you?
is a great thing.
Well, we had to pull Martin out of the cellar. He was licking all the barrels.
That's awesome.
I said.
All right, hey, I got to get my information correct, but you guys have a big shindig coming up this weekend, Florida-Georgia week at the Bricks, right?
We do, and that's why we're here. We're Bricks is going to be one of the first bars to carry our Añejo and Reposado. And on Friday and Saturday night, we've got a big shindig with the Mosquitoes are going to be playing.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, right? Both
9
nights?
o'clock, they're going to start. We're going to have an engraver there. So if you buy any of the 3 bottles, you can have it engraved. Makes a great holiday gift.
Yeah,
but,
I like that.
Because Bricks is a package store, you can buy a bottle there and take it with you.
Cool. Very good.
In time for the tailgate, too. So, we'll have Florida, Georgia, whatever you want on there. So
Awesome. It says even frat and sorority logos, too, right?
If
you're of age.
If you want. Or if you want to think back that far, yeah.
We'll get some custom ones for you guys.
And Vida de Luis girls. Right. It says.
Well, we can't comment too heavily on that.
Yeah.
Our wives might be listening.
Yeah, true. Not hired from the World Series, girls. Right. We're not sure.
Well, they're
about
probably trying to find a job right now. So who knows?
They're available.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so the Bricks Tap House, Jacksonville Beach, 302nd Street North. You know where that is. The Mosquitoes starting at 9 p.m. both nights, Friday and Saturday. Once again, get it engraved for free, the new bottles of Vida de Luis. Now, is this it for now, guys, in terms of you got 3 different flavors and brands, and obviously the Vida de Luis is the brand, but is this it for now? Oh, we just lost to each other here.
Down goes Lane.
Oh, no. We got a November. That could be a bad omen.
That could be a horrible
We got a fight. You got a fight coming.
I know. That's some bad juju right there.
As the Iceman, I didn't do a good job.
No, you didn't. No, you're supposed
corner.
to be in my corner, man. Sorry.
But is this it for now, or can you do more with it, or what?
Yeah, those are the flavors for now. We did use some. We're going to do a little bit different packaging on the Reposado and Añejo. We've got some glass and ceramic caps that are going to be red and black and really pop. And
cool.
The flavor's not going to change, so we've got a great flavor. We had a crew of 6 people that all agreed on the same flavor, and we're really proud of what we have. It's going to be, it compares to $120 tequilas that, you're going to be able to get in the neighborhood of $40 and $50.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
One last thought, at least thanks. Nice job with the work with the Bahamas. Hopefully you guys were able to raise some money for friends in the Bahamas the last couple of months. That was a nice effort by Vida de Luis.
Yeah, I was talking to Greg over at Salt Life, and he said it's in the neighborhood of $20,000-$30,000 between the 3 restaurants. So
awesome.
Between us and Salt Life, I appreciate them doing that for us.
Very good. Good
the
stuff.
news cycle has moved forward, but they still need a ton of help. So anything that we can do to help them,
yeah,
it's going to be a long road, but we're here to help them through the whole time that they need us.
And you said it right too. The news cycle does move forward onto the next thing, but their lives are still torn all apart. Martin, Palm Beach Autographs question for you.
Yeah,
and we have
what's
Vince
up?
Dooley coming on. But
great guy.
The latest with Minshew. We just gave away a shirt, right? The Uncle Rico Minshew. Give us, what's the update? How hot is he right now? I don't want to. You tell me whatever you can tell me about Minshew in the sports memorabilia world.
So obviously, Jags fans are still fired up. They're still growing their mustaches, rocking their bandanas, and we're announcing here today. We finally got back. We're going to be participating in his first autograph signing. In terms of memorabilia, he's done some appearances, but he's going to be doing his first autograph signing on November 19th. We will be doing send-ins, so if people have items that they want to have autographed, we're going to be launching it on the website today. They want to buy tickets. A private signing. He's giving us a Tuesday, which is an off day for him. It's not going to be the public signings that we normally do where people can come out and have a chance to meet them, get a photograph and things like this. It's going to be a private signing here in town, but we'll have mini helmets, photos, footballs, jerseys available for the holiday season. So we expect him to kind of be the exciting player that everybody's going to want for their kids and their man caves and things like that. So we were a little worried about it, but we were able to get the deal done. And we will have Minshew Mania at Palm Beach Autographs. November 19th is when the signing is, so we'll have the items after that.
And that's perfect for the holiday season, obviously, and they'll be pretty hot. I think everybody, and who knows what happens with them starting, who knows from here, but it picked up steam a little bit after a couple of weeks where it died down. That's how these things work. But you have to be creative with this, right? I mean, from a business side, this is fascinating. Minshew, I talked to his marketing people. Nobody, pump the music. Minshew Mania is something the NFL hasn't experienced a lot of. You experienced a little bit with Tebow back in the day.
Is.
And I wouldn't say it's at that level. It's different at the very least. But it's still a unique deal.
Oh, it's absolutely very unique. And I think you hit the nail on the head a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about this, and you said you bought a jersey for the kids just to remember it. So even if Folds ends up being the starter and takes the reins, people are going to want to remember this.
Yeah,
people are going to want to remember these moments. So we're going to have photos from all the great games that he's had. And the Jags are in a great position because now they know. I mean, Folds has never played a complete season, right?
Correct.
If something happens and he goes down again, they got the Camaro shined up in the garage, ready to go.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
The van, the orange van.
The van, that's right. Hey, just in time for the holidays, Palm Beach Autographs with some Minshew memorabilia, and just in time for the holidays, Vita de Luis. And
good cross-branding.
And Reposado along with
done, buddy.
the Blanco. I'm getting good at this.
Your seventh grade Spanish is really
it's paying off. That's right. We have happy hour horn coming up in a little bit, but right next, Vince Dooley, the legend from Georgia, joins us at Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The trade deadline came and went with no movement from the Jaguars. In fact, the only roster move to speak of is the retirement of Josh Robinson. He's an 8-year cornerback who played on special teams. World Series champ will be named tonight because of this.
And a ball popped up, back of second base. Cabrera is there, calls for it, and makes the catch. And the Washington Nationals have forced Game 7 in as wild a game as you will see.
Clip courtesy of ESPN Radio. The Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros play Game 7 on Fox. The Jags Icemen will take the ice tonight at home. The puck drops at 7 p.m. Tickets are available. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus with locations throughout the First Coast. There's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
Tax problems can be extremely stressful and cause financial devastation. The tax attorneys at J. David Tax Law are right here in Jacksonville to be your personal advocate and resolve your IRS or state sales tax issues. J. David Tax Law focuses on your needs and case outcomes. Don't be fooled by these big out-of-town tax companies that only focus on getting you to sign up and pay without even working with an attorney. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit-down with J. David Tax Law. Never trust your tax situation to anyone you can't walk in and look in the eye. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777, 904-507-4777, or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Our partners at BSN Sports, the largest provider of team sports equipment and apparel in the country, would like to thank all of the coaches out there who truly are the heart of the game. While BSN Sports is the best at equipping athletes with a one-stop shop for everything needed to run an athletic program, coaches are the best at equipping lives. And that's the real final score. Learn more about how BSN Sports can save you time off the field so you can impact more lives on it by calling your local BSN Sports sales professional or by visiting bsnsports.com today.
Want to hear something crazy? Last month, our friends at Arlington Toyota offered prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. Want to hear something really crazy? Arlington is extending the sale. The 2020 Super Sales Event has been extended at Arlington Toyota. So come in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota CHR, it's not $22,660. Now it's only $17,988. That's $17,988 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota CHR at Arlington Toyota. How about a Toyota Tacoma? It's not $29,635. No way. It's just $23,888. $23,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Tacoma at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Save now at Travel Camp RV with payments as low as $107 a month and no payments for 90 days. It's fall fun season, time to get out with family and friends in an RV from Travel Camp, where you get the guaranteed lowest price every time. Travel Camp specializes in towables, which keeps the costs lower and the prices lower than all the rest. Choose from the best brands for as little as $107 a month with no payments for 90 days. Shop now and save at Travel Camp RV.
The DTSP Songwriters Festival is 3 days of music and stories. Over 100 free acoustic performances from over 35 national singer-songwriters like Ed Roland of Collective Soul, the Warren Brothers, John Ford Coley, and a special event with Modest Yahoo. November 1st through the 3rd in beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. Details at dtspsongwritersfestival.com or like us on Facebook at DTSP Songwriters Festival. Brought to you by Funky Buddha Brewery. Visit St. Pete Clearwater and HD Radio.
WWE Live Holiday Tour brings the WWE Super Show to Jacksonville on December 7th. Don't miss your favorite WWE Raw and SmackDown superstars at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the showdown now on the contest page on ESPN690.com.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, this is awesome. We're hanging out at RV City, Florida, Georgia week, of course. All the action coming up on CBS 47 on Saturday, but we have so much coverage. Of course, the radio show, Action Sports Jax, on ESPN 690 here today, tomorrow, and Friday. Brent Martineau, along with former Jags player Austin Lane. And what a pleasure it is to now welcome into the show the legend from Georgia, former head coach, former athletic director, Vince Dooley. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Okay, yeah, it's the big weekend for sure.
It absolutely is. Hey, if you don't mind, I don't feel like I've earned the right to call you Vince, so I'm just going to call you Coach Dooley, if that's okay.
Yeah, I've been called a lot of things, but Coach is one of the better ones, I'll have to admit.
Absolutely. Well, you know this every year. I'm sure everybody asks you about it. And what does this game mean to you here in Jacksonville, being a Georgia guy?
Well, it's turned into one of the biggest rivals, and it's always towards the end of the season with the possibility of the championship riding on the ball game. And that's certainly the case this year. Excuse me, the winner will certainly have the best chance of being in the championship game against the Western champs. And if you're in that game, then you've got a chance to be in the Final Four. So it doesn't get any bigger than this. And I think that the two teams are probably closer than I've seen them in some times.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Vince Dooley, the former Georgia head coach and athletic director with us, legendary coach in Athens, and won so many of these games. We'll get into that record in just a little bit. But I think you're right. We've seen this game in the last decade be teams within the top 10, teams that had a lot riding on it. But I'm not sure we've seen a game where I'm not really sure who's going to win, Coach. I know who you have in the fight. I get it. But I think these teams are pretty close, especially given the last couple of weeks and the momentum that Florida has built, and maybe the curiosity now over the last couple of weeks, few weeks, that Georgia has built, given their loss to South Carolina and obviously a sloppy win in sloppy conditions against Kentucky.
Yeah, well, at the beginning of the season, it looked like that almost Georgia was a heavy favorite to be the champions of the East. But I don't think that's longer true. Florida has improved tremendously since the early part of the season and was able to survive a loss against Kentucky that almost looked for sure. And we were not able to survive our loss against South Carolina. And so we've kind of leveled off. We have not improved like expectations. There's so much expectation. Florida has improved to the point where I think the ball game is just about a toss-up. You know, we might be favored 1 or 2 points, but what does that mean? I look at it as a real toss-up now.
Hey there, Coach. Austin Lane here. And when we're talking about neutral site games, obviously this is one of the biggest ones, and I think having the neutral site here in Jacksonville is what makes this rivalry so big. My question to you is, so before you took over the head coaching gig at Georgia, obviously Georgia was struggling against Florida. You know, I mean, before you got there, Florida had won 10 of the past 12, against the Florida-Georgia game. My question to you is, did you feel a little extra added pressure? Because now you hear, when Urban Meyer signed his contract, he was receiving pressure from the boosters and the AD, like, hey, you got to beat Michigan. You got to beat Michigan. Did you feel a little extra added pressure when you were signing your contract that you had to beat Florida? You had to beat Florida.
No, I felt like I had to win the first game. The third game, I wasn't looking ahead to anybody because Georgia had gone through of the previous season, 7 losing seasons. So it was just all about, from my standpoint, of winning like a program. And fortunately, we were able to do that, win some early, and win a championship by the 3rd year, which gave me some credibility, which I had very little when I first came to Georgia. I don't know how many years ago, but I know I was 31, as young as you could get, and inexperienced. So, but then I soon found out how big the Florida game was. And, well, I really knew because I always enjoyed scouting the Georgia-Florida game when I was at Auburn. It was such a unique ball game and excitement, and there's no place that I enjoyed scouting more than Jacksonville for that particular game. So I knew how important it was, and we were very fortunate to win the first one, which again gave me some credibility that I needed badly.
Georgia legend Vince Dooley with us on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 here, and we'll do it for the coach. We'll say Georgia-Florida week, even though the Florida Gators are the home team this time around. I know what they say up in the state of Georgia. It's Georgia-Florida week. Coach, you mentioned this game, the rivalry. Austin brought it up. There's been talks over the years. It needs to go to Athens and Gainesville and or stay in the River City. Obviously, we're in Jacksonville. We are partial. We'd love for it to stay here forever. Where do you sit on that topic now that they just extended the contract for another few more years? Do you think this will stay forever in Jacksonville? Should it, or should it be on a rotating basis, maybe on the college campuses?
No, I think it should be renewed every 2 or 3 years and look at it and see where we are. And it was the case with me when I first came to Georgia. Florida had a real advantage in Jacksonville with the ticket sales. Most of the seats for Florida was on the 50-yard line. When you'd go in, all the ticket takers had Florida hats on. So we tried to get it more neutralized, and it did cost us much more money to travel to the ball game than it does from Florida to take the bus from Gainesville. So I think that's all been equalized, but there's something always new that's got to be considered. And Coach Smart, Kirby Smart, has brought to the attention, his focus is so much on recruiting. He does think that every other year we lose a great recruiting opportunity. But the ball means so much to Florida in Jacksonville, and it means so much to Georgia, particularly South Georgia and along the coast. So I'm very much aware of that. So it has to be, I think, evaluated every 3 or 4 years, and evidently that has been done. Florida has realized, and they know, by that I mean Jacksonville, that this game is really important to them, and obviously they've settled on some increase for both Georgia and Florida.
Yeah, I've been playing this game in Jacksonville since 1933. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, talking with the legendary coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, Vince Dooley. All right, Coach, you got to shed some light on these younger guys a little bit. We talked to Herschel Walker at the Super Bowl. Oh, what a specimen. What a great man. And you got to coach him. You guys won that national championship. You read the stories about Herschel, and Coach, did you realize, I mean, it was a coin flip. I know you did a heck of a job recruiting, but it was a coin flip to get Herschel. And my real question to you is, have they ever made another athlete like Herschel Walker, and maybe will they ever?
Well, you hear from Auburn, you could make a strong argument for an athlete like Bo Jackson. He was great, and they competed against each other at least 2 years. But nevertheless, from my standpoint, I've never seen one that had these three great attributes. One, tremendous speed. He had world-class speed. Secondly, tremendous strength. And he did that mostly with just push-ups because they didn't have weights in his high school, which is the lowest classification in the state. But again, with all of that going for him, what he really had is this incredible self-discipline and ability to sacrifice, and it even shows today he's probably the best condition, however old he is right now. He could be 55 or 56, but he still works out a couple of times a day, and I believe he could play at least 4 or 5 plays in a ball game today.
Coach, so this is my first time here in RV City. Even for a Thursday, it's quite. I'm sorry, even for a Wednesday, it's still quite the spectacle. People are lining up here, and I'm looking across, and I'm seeing that iconic Georgia red helmet. Everywhere you go, you see that helmet. My question to you is, I heard that you had some input actually, because the Georgia helmet used to be gray. When you got in, it might have been your influence to try to change it to the red color and add the G there that we see now. My question to you is, what was your input on that? What was your idea behind that? And do you get a commission time now that they sell that helmet? Do you actually get a cut of that?
Well, no, but it would be nice. But absolutely not. And yes, I had a lot of influence. I was, again, young. I really felt like that Georgia needed a change. I think Georgia had, again, not done well in the previous 9 seasons. As I mentioned, 7 losing seasons. And so I thought it was change, and I was young enough to think about it for a long time and make the decision to change it. And the colors, I think, are magnificent. Black on white on red are probably the most harmonious colors in existence. So I like that. But the great thing about it is that we got into the wearing that uniform, the new headgear, the new oval G, and I'm sure that some Georgia people kind of looked at it suspiciously. But if you win a championship in the 3rd year, then all of a sudden they started liking the headgear. I'm confident if we had not done well in 3 years, I'd have been gone, and the headgear would have been gone with me.
That's awesome. We are going to wrap it up with the legendary coach from the Georgia Bulldogs, Vince Dooley. Really appreciate you joining us. Let's end you with this, Coach. Kirby Smart, he likes to do things kind of the way, well, you used to do it. Solid defense, maybe just fundamental on the offensive side, and it's worked really well. How about the job Kirby Smart has done, and will he get the big one eventually there in Athens?
Well, he's already come very, very close to doing that. And I think that the future of the program is in great hands. Kirby would have been my choice if I had had that responsibility as the athletic director. I believe it, and he is he loves Georgia because he went and started Georgia, and he's got a great background on coaching, and I think that he's definitely going in the right direction. And I have no doubt in my mind the future for Georgia football is tremendous with Kirby Smart.
Awesome. Thanks for taking some time for us, Coach Dooley. That was awesome, and I hope you enjoy the Georgia-Florida game on Saturday.
I'm on my way right now, and I definitely will.
All right, we'll see you in Jacksonville. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach Vince Dooley, former Georgia Bulldog, great, of course. Our interviews this week being brought to you by Palm Beach Autographs. You can actually get some Vince Dooley Georgia memorabilia at Palm Beach Autographs in the Avenues Mall. 87 years young, man.
Man. Still spry, it seems like, too,
That's
man.
awesome.
That was a great interview, man. And I wish you could go back in time and change the contract where he'd kind of get some money for, changing that helmet around and licensing it. But, hey, it is what it is. I'm sure he's doing just fine.
Well, he had a heck of a time during his days beating the Florida Gators. Not so much prior, not so much right after. But while Vince Dooley was there, they changed that narrative, especially in the late 70s and in the 80s. More from the Florida-Georgia game and more on the Jags. Plus, we talk more NFL with Ryan O'Halloran next on ESPN 690.
Get your Florida-Georgia weekend started with Go Lick and Wingo live in Jacksonville Friday, November 1st at Intuition Ale Works on Bay Street. Come join us for our live show from 6 to 10, where you can hear our show live on ESPN Jacksonville 690. Go Lick and Wingo live from Intuition Ale Works, November 1st, 6 through 10.
Are you looking for the best wings around? I found the place. Listen up. Hey, everyone, it's Brent Martineau. Mr. Chubby's Wings is awesome. 2 locations, the West Side and in Fleming Island. They are a part of the community, too. Mr. Chubby's Wings wants to wish all of the high school teams good luck this fall. They've been supporting youth athletics for a decade. Get ready for the game at Mr. Chubby's. Celebrate the big win at Mr. Chubby's. Chub it up with the best wings around. Mr. Chubby's Wings on the West Side and in Fleming Island.
We love our pets. Our furry little friends mean so much to us that we want nothing but the best. At Forever Vets Animal Hospital, we feel the same way too. Forever Vets Animal Hospital understands that you have busy schedules. That's why we're open 7 days a week and have extended hours during the work week. In case you have an emergency, remember, stay calm and call Forever Vets Animal Hospital with 6 convenient locations throughout Jacksonville and St. Augustine. Forever Vets Animal Hospital is here for you and your pet. First-time customers receive a free pet exam from one of our highly trained veterinarians. We also offer wellness plans that fit everyone's budget. Forever Vets Animal Hospital makes life easy for you and your pet. Go to forevervets.com to schedule an appointment. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets healthy and happy forever.
At the 1955 Rose Bowl, Goodyear began providing stunning aerial coverage of college football, forever changing the way the game is experienced. In recognition of its significant contribution, the Goodyear blimp is being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame as an honorary member. It's the first non-player or coach to ever be inducted. Goodyear is celebrating this honor by reminding you to look forward and make sure you're prepared for the road ahead. Discover more at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, more driven.
Guys, the secret is out. If you want healthy sex, your body needs nitric oxide. And now you can boost your nitric oxide production faster than you thought possible with Ageless Male Tonight, the absurdly fast formula from the #1 brand in male enhancement. Just take 1 capsule an hour before romantic activity. You'll get clinically tested ingredients that rapidly boost nitric oxide production, and it won't go unnoticed. Rush to Walmart and get Ageless Male Tonight.
See, boss, look at all these great masks, and they got them marked down for their after Halloween sale. These make great disguises for breaking into houses.
Oh, yeah. It's perfectly normal for a big guy in a Spider-Man mask to be lurking around the neighborhood.
I wouldn't be lurking.
Whatever. Just make sure you don't go near any Safe Touch houses. Those things aren't safe for us crooks.
Hey, before I forget, that house we've been casing, when are those folks going out of town again?
Black Friday. And since they don't have Safe Touch security, we don't have to worry.
Yeah, no Safe Touch means no two-way communicator or crash and smash technology, no video monitoring.
And no headaches for me.
Here, look. What do you think of my new mask?
It's definitely an improvement.
Thanks.
You find another house without Safe Touch and the mask is on me.
Consider it done.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
When the time comes to get your roof replaced, call Big Fish Roofing. We don't require any upfront deposits, and we are locally owned and operated by Jacksonville natives who have built their business on quality and integrity. At Big Fish Roofing, we know your roof is the first line of defense against the elements, so we make sure to deliver a quality project in a timely manner. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing, or give us a call at 904-685-8334.
Beard's Diamonds is celebrating 39 years in Jacksonville with the biggest sale of the year.
Buy any ladies' wedding band and get the man's band free.
Yes, it's a BOGO on wedding bands.
4 days only, November 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Shop and compare. Beard's Diamonds has the guaranteed lowest price.
If you're getting married soon
or just want to upgrade your wedding bands,
now is the time. November 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center
or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Save now at Travel Camp RV with payments as low as $107 a month and no payments for 90 days. It's fall fun season. Time to get out with family and friends in an RV from Travel Camp, where you get the guaranteed lowest price every time. Travel Camp specializes in towables, which keeps the costs lower and the prices lower than all the rest. Since 1982, they've helped more families make more great memories. Shop now and save at Travel Camp RV.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. For the 40th time in World Series history, there is a Game 7. The Astros host the Nationals in the winner-take-all matchup tonight. That Greinke for Houston. Washington counters with Max Scherzer, who missed his Game 5 start with neck spasms. And there's one concern when it comes to Scherzer, according to ESPN's Jessica Mendoza.
How much length can he give this team? Now, the good thing is Daniel Hudson, Sean Doolittle, those two pitchers, you can use anybody pretty much out of the bullpen. There is more options for Davey Martinez out of the bullpen, but what we've seen is they need length from these starters, and how much length can Scherzer bring?
Jessica Mendoza on the Baseball Tonight podcast. Game 7, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Washington catcher Kurt Suzuki returns from a hip flexor strain tonight. NBA, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting. Hawks star Trae Young felt improvement in his sprained ankle today. He could return as soon as next week. Clippers giving Kawhi Leonard the night off tonight against the Jazz to rest. 10 Eastern, ESPN TV. Kawhi returns tomorrow night against the Spurs.
Vivid Seats, the top ticket source for the live events you crave, now has a loyalty program that allows fans to earn credit back. Go to the App Store or Google Play, download the Vivid Seats app, and enter promo code ESPN25 for 10% off your next order.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Yeah, they got a lot of guys that are going to play. Just trying to get prepared for each guy, and there's no way to know kind of what combination of guys they're going to have back there. But we can see kind of schematically what they're going to do and attack it that way.
All right, Gardner Minshew talking about the Houston Texans, obviously without J.J. Watt. They're banged up as well. The injury report will be something to follow all week in this football game. Who makes the trip, who will play, inactives will come out bright and early. Remember, it's a 9:30 game on NFL Network on Sunday morning. We'll have countdown to kickoff on CBS 47 and Fox 30. We'll actually simulcast that on Sunday morning. That will be one of 14 TV shows we do from Sunday to Sunday. So if you want to watch some sports, Jags, Florida, Georgia, World Series, flip it on CBS 47 and Fox 30. If you want to talk some sports, stay right here. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690, of course, live from RV City today, tomorrow, and Friday. And you can hear Game 7 of the World Series tonight on ESPN 690. Before we get to Ryan O'Halloran, do want to mention there's a ton of events going on. Mm-hmm. Right, RV City sold out here. We're a part of it. This is awesome. There's also Duval's Bold City Bash at Florida, Georgia. And it's the ultimate Florida Georgia fan experience, and there's so many different events going on. It's at Daly's Flex Field, 1 to 10 o'clock on Friday, then 10 a.m. to 3:30 before kickoff on Saturday. There's a block party at Duval's Bold City Bash. That is Friday 4 to 10 at Adams Street and A. Philip Randolph. Gators versus the Dogs are going to play some baseball inside the baseball grounds, a little scrimmage game, an exhibition game. That will be kind of cool, and that's new this year. Duval's Bold City Bash concert, which will include Brett Young and Chase Rice. If you like country like I do, you'll like that. That's following the baseball game on Friday night. And then, of course, we got a game day on Saturday. So many events. And you can check out, of course, the website to find out all the events, Florida, Georgia. Google it, look it up, and see what's happening. But listen to us, and we'll tell you more about it over the next couple of days as well. Before we get to Ryan O and talk some football, we got a lot of business to take care of, and that includes the happy hour horn. Here on a Wednesday, what better place to have a happy hour horn than RV City?
Party now begin. See the beautiful ladies marching in. There's enough for everyone to win. We're gonna make this party the best thing happening. This is my favorite place. Nothing will replace. No. Nothing. Anything goes. Gangsters rolling, half face smiling. Heads over, think of the rhythm what you're drinking. Anything goes.
Grab a drink, get a shot, and sip your starts.
They'll be saying that all around this area.
You better believe it, Brent.
All week long.
Yes.
A locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville. It's Vida de Luis Tequila. Recently got a 98 rating. How about that? Made in Tequila, Mexico. Shipped directly to Jax Beach. Make your own recipes with Vida de Luis Tequila. One of the smoothest tequilas you will ever taste. Go to VitaDeLuis.com and get ready for the holidays. They got their brand new flavors of tequila out. Reposado and Añejo. Añejo.
There you go. And
so we just saw it over here.
Yeah.
Martin and Mark brought it by, and we didn't try. We didn't sample, but you can certainly do that at VitaDeLuis.com. All right, time to talk some football. More of it, the NFL style. We bring in Ryan O'Halloran from the Florida Times-Union, and we thought it was busy in Jacksonville with Jalen Ramsey and Minshew Mania, and when all of a sudden this week, man, it's got busy in Denver, and you've had some busy times with the struggles early on and Bradley Chubb going down, and now Joe Flacco. How long is he going to be out?
Well, first of all, Austin, can you see what Brent is drinking? Because it's no longer the Florida Times-Union, it's the Denver Post.
Did I just say Florida Times-Union?
You did.
Maybe I did have a sip of that.
He's enjoying RV City too much.
Absolutely. On a Wednesday, mind
formerly of the Florida Times-Union, now of the Denver Post. Formerly covering the Jags, now covering the Broncos. Sorry, man.
So to your original question about Joe Flacco, I think we've seen the last of him this year.
Really?
Even if it's a non-surgical problem, it could be 5 to 6 weeks, at which point, why put him back in there? And I think the bigger question is, has he played his last game for the Broncos? That's something that can be debated later on. But, you got Brandon Allen, the former Jag, now in a quarterback, and the Drew Lock watch really does pick up after their bye week.
Hey, let me ask you about the sequence of events that took place. Joe Flacco comes out and rips the offense, being conservative. Can you because we're watching from afar, man, and there's so much going on, but I saw the soundbite, I saw that, and I was like, okay, I mean, he's built up some equity, he can say some things, probably not going to like it, but I kind of like the raw nature of it. Did he know he was hurt then? Did you guys know he was hurt then? Because then the next thing I heard, he's out maybe for the season because of the neck and disc injury.
Yeah, it was interesting. He was getting his neck worked on throughout the second half. He took, and it turned out he'd been bothering him for a couple weeks. This is how out of character it was for Joe Flacco. I wasn't even in there. None of us were in there. We never go to his press conference.
Wow.
Because there's nothing to be said. And so after his press conference, when the PR guy says, hey, I want to watch Joe when you get back upstairs, well, then we heard what he's saying. I feel like he was popping off because he felt like his season was over. And he wanted to say, hey, I didn't like the way we were calling the game. I got nothing around me, et cetera, et cetera. So he was just venting at that point. He did have he doesn't really have a point about the second half offense because they did try and pass it. He just threw bad passes. But 3rd and 5 in Colts territory, pass it, game is over, get a first down. Well, they run it, make Colts use their timeout. Indianapolis goes down the field, kicks a field goal.
Ryan, it's like you said, that Joe Flacco, that whole rant, if you want to call it that, it was so uncharacteristic of who he is as a football player. And I guess my question to you would be, I get it, he's not starting anymore, he's out with the injury, but did he echo the sentiments that more guys were thinking in that locker room? And what is that locker room? I mean, obviously anytime you lose a game, it's going to be in shambles a little bit, but does that locker room kind of agree with Joe Flacco a little bit, having Joe Flacco been kind of the general and the leader of that team?
Yeah, I mean, Emmanuel Sanders had said something like that before he was traded. The guys on defense definitely agreed with Flacco. Guys on offense who say, hey, if the quarterback's saying that, maybe he does have a point. But you're up 13-3 in the second half. You got to hold them. You got to be able to convert some third downs. This team in the last 4 games is 8 of 50 on third down. 8 of 50.
Wow.
So you got to be able to keep the ball. But I think Vic Fangio has a lot to do with this, and Austin can probably relate to this. He's a defensive head coach. He calls the plays on defense. He's probably thinking at 13-3, he's probably thinking, this game's over. My defense is going to hold them. And I think he definitely wanted the offense to make sure the Colts took all 3 of their timeouts, which they did, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, it's a really interesting situation. I mean, so it's off the rails in Denver, man. I mean, they're going with Brandon Allen. I mean, what about Locke? Is it not going to happen? Did they miss? Did they already know they missed? Do they have to be patient? What's the deal?
Well, our columnist Mark Kizel is writing a story tomorrow basically saying, do they even know what their plan is? What does that say? But it's John Elway's plan. This guy has been eligible to come off the practice and come off IR here for a couple weeks now, but they're going to hold him out this week again, then start his clock after the bye. Maybe they feel he doesn't have a grasp of the system. Maybe they don't feel he's as healthy as he says he is. There is definitely some kind of disconnect going on. And the only thing worth watching for a 2-6 team is the young cornerback. And so use the fact that you stink to discover whether he can be the guy moving forward. And, maybe you give Brandon Allen some run here just to get you through the next couple of games, but you got to see what Drew Lock can do so you can figure out what your plan is moving forward.
Ryan O'Halloran with us from the Denver Post. As a guy who used to work for the Florida Times Union, I do have this question for you. What would you be writing about Gardner Minshew or Nick Foles after this coming week?
Well, I would have already written it. I would have said, you got to stick with the kid. And because they won those 2 games. If they lose to Houston and it's a close game and he plays well, I would stick with Minshew because it looks like he has a little bit of momentum back after he struggled completion percentage-wise for a couple weeks. That said, it would not surprise me for them to go back to Foles after the bye. If they're 5-4, maybe they feel like a veteran quarterback can really propel them, to compete with the Colts. And I think that's the key thing if you're Doug Marrone. You got 2 games left with the division leader. Who gives you the better chance against the Colts? Because it's their division to lose, even if the Texans are 5-3. So it's going to be fascinating. It's a great decision. It's a great problem for Doug Marrone to have, it's going to be something that he needs to really announce early once they return for their bye. Hey, this is the guy. It's not going to be a week-to-week thing either.
I like getting Ryan's opinion on this stuff because he's obviously been in different places around the NFL, now out in Denver, covering the Broncos for the Denver Post, but he also has a pulse at Jacksonville. He's been around this thing a little bit.
Yeah.
And, to piggyback on that, I do want to give folks an update. Gardner Minshew was added to the injury report by the Jaguars, soreness in the shoulder, but he's fine. I mean, nothing to panic about, but the Jags have added him to the injury report, mostly because, well, that's kind of what you got to do with the NFL. My question is, where you've been around and I guess this is kind of a unique situation because young guys don't usually come in, especially after you've spent $88 million. So it's unusual. But what I'm curious about, Ryan, I guess I don't really have all the answers to, is how much more the offense, how much new stuff would defenses see if Foles goes in there the last 7 weeks that Gardner Minshew has been unable to run because, 1, he just doesn't have the experience. 2, this offense was built for Nick Foles. So I don't really know what percentage of that is, and also I don't know what kind of advantage that could be for the Jags, but I do wonder if it's kind of an underbelly of what could go into this decision for Doug Marrone.
Yeah, and it's a question for John DeFilippo that he may or may not answer is, have you had to pare down the system? And you probably had to originally, but Minshew seems like a very smart guy. Has the playbook been wide open the last couple of weeks? And, even if Nick Foles is the quarterback moving forward, it's still going to be a Leonard Fournette offense in the run game. It's still going to be, try and just squeeze the air out of the football a little bit. But what impresses me most about Minshew is some of the big plays he's making downfield. And you can't discount that. He's hanging tough. He's getting hit. That line's not the greatest, but the team has rallied around him. Part of me is like, if you're Doug Marrone, there's 7 games left after you come back from the bye. Nothing saying you can't go to Nick Foles with 5 games left. See if you feel like Gardner Minshew has a hot hand, see if you can ride it a little bit longer.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Ryan, and I get it. That front office of the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, Doug Marrone, all those coaches, they're still playing for their job, right? Because granted, they're 4-4 right now, but there's still 8 more games to play. And if they struggle, jobs could be on the line here. So I understand that you want to play for the right now. You want to play for your job, obviously, and you want to hit the right button at the quarterback position to do that. But also my question is, do you kind of have to plan for the future as well? And do you kind of hurt the future a little bit? Because let's be honest, Gardner Minshew's putting up numbers that we haven't really seen from a first-year quarterback. Do you kind of hamper his progress? Do you kind of hamper the future of the Jacksonville Jaguars if you push the Nick Foles button?
Well, that's another $1 million question. Hypothetically, after the bye, let's say they go back to Foles. Well, in Minshew, you have one of two things. You have 3 things. You have a guy can start and win. You have a backup on the most affordable contract ever for a backup quarterback in this league. And C, you have a hell of a trade chip if you want to play it. So that's the good thing is they have options. If you go back to Foles, I don't think you're going to ruin Minshew's confidence because he's bounced around the country in college. He knows he's still confident. So
that's a good point.
It all depends. What would have been the boldest move at the trade deadline is see if there are any takers for Foles. But nobody has that cap space left. But let's throw another hypothetical on the board. Let's say they stick with Minshew and he wins the division. Well, what do you do then? Do you try and get a taker for Foles? I would explore it, but we're a long way from that.
Yeah, it's funny how a good situation can become almost a problem situation, depending on how it's played. And Doug Marrone's going to have to push the right button, so we'll see how it plays out. Hey, got a big picture NFL thing for you. We haven't talked a lot about this, and really shame on me for not bringing it up enough. The new CBA, all that stuff. But in the discussion of this season is the fact that I think there's – well, you'll have a better pulse on this, but I feel like 17 games in the regular season, 3 games in the preseason is almost like going to happen. Like, is that like guaranteed to happen in your opinion?
If the union gets the incentives in terms of the salaries and the money, if the owners say we're going to add extra games, so we're going to add 1/17 of a paycheck to everybody, and with an extra week. The TV revenue is going to go up that much more. The cap's going to go up that much more. They want to be on that even number so they can get 10-10. I would rather go with a 17-2 model because it's just one less week of that nonsense. So, but it does feel like there is an inevitable development that 17 is going to be the number. But I think the key for the union outside of the salary cap is you got to be able to add maybe 1 or 2 roster spots. Make it a 55-man roster. Make sure 49 or 48 guys instead of 46 are active on game day. To me, if I'm the union, that's what would be enticing because let's say you add 3 roster spots. That's nearly 100 new jobs. That should be enticing to the union.
Yeah, I agree with you, too, and I think they should make those moves as well. Ryan O'Halloran from the Denver Post with us, and we'll see. I've heard back in August that that's pretty much a done deal. Can it get to 18-2? Doesn't probably look likely, but 17-3 is really a good feeling that will happen. One more big picture thought. As the Jaguars go to London, you've made that trip. I've obviously made that trip 5 out of 6 years now. I don't know how you feel about this because Denver's not going, but I feel like it's kind of I don't know if lost its luster is the right way to say it, Ryan, but I do think it's maybe plateaued in terms of the excitement over there. And I'm not over there, and I'm not going this weekend, staying back here for Florida, Georgia. But what's your take on that? Do you think that has cooled at all? given the 3 games that they have, and that, yeah, they're selling tickets, but nobody's kind of pounding their chest and saying, come on over here, another team. This is really going to work. We told you so.
Yeah, and by the way, you're the big winner of the week because you don't have to go. I made 5 trips as well, the first 5, and the plateau's a good word. I think it had run its course in terms of drawing new interest. I don't think you're going to add a ton of fans at this point. For the Jaguars to go over there, it still makes a lot of sense with their finances, and so they're going to keep doing it. But you don't hear a lot from the league. Well, we'd like to expand. We'd like to have a team over there full time, because every team that goes over there for the first time and comes back, they're like, how in the hell is the team going to work over there logistically, physically, financially, et cetera? So I think the NFL, it would be out of character for the NFL to say, hey, let's not expand this. Let's not expand the menu of games over there. Let's just stick with the Jags as one, then maybe 2 or 3 at Tottenham, or maybe branch out to Barcelona or Frankfurt or something like that. But my last couple trips over there, what you found is nobody in the media there cares about the game. They never did. They never will, because that's not something they're interested in. But you're going to have a core of fans that are going to keep buying those tickets, and you don't see it going away. But it's not the event that it was maybe the first 2 years.
I got you, and I kind of agree with you, man. I'm not going to be over there to get that pulse, but I sense that too. And it's not that they don't want people coming over. I just think it's lost the steam a little bit to get a franchise over there, especially with everything going on in the CBA.
Yeah, and my remember the first couple of years over there, Brent, it was you go to fan events, and it was fans coming in from Netherlands, Germany, Spain, even Russia, because they liked American football. They weren't a fan of any team, but they just liked to do that experience. Well, you're probably only going to do that experience once or twice. And so how are you going to find new fans? What's going to be the interesting part is, how about 1 year Wembley doesn't sell out? Then what do you do? That's probably a part of the reason why they moved to Tottenham, a little smaller venue. So it still makes a ton of sense for Shad Khan and the Jaguars to do it. But I don't think you're going to find anybody else who wants to go over there on a regular basis.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you, man. We'll see where it lands, and we'll see how the Jaguars do over there this Sunday against the Houston Texans. All right, man, great catching up with you. Thanks for joining us each and every week. And formerly of the Florida Times-Union, enjoying it thoroughly at the Denver Post. Hopefully you're not breaking out the shovel too much yet.
Well, there's been about a foot of snow here in the last 3 days, and practice was moved inside today because it was 9 degrees.
Oh, my gosh. I can't even fathom that.
I want to go snowboarding now,
tomorrow.
man.
It's so weird.
Dang.
But, hey, enjoy it. We'll catch up with you again next week. Thanks for hanging with us.
All right, fellas, take care now.
All right, Rhino out. Isn't it so weird to be here where it's so hot, we're still sweating?
Yeah.
And you can't even fathom that it's 9 degrees and a foot of snow somewhere else. And I'm from the north. You're from up there.
I'm from up there.
My clock doesn't even tick that way anymore, you know?
Well, it's funny. My mom sent me this picture about two days ago of her house right now. So we have some snow as well back home. It's just, it's hard to comprehend when you're dealing with 95% humidity in the mornings and everything when you're taking your son to school. So I can't comprehend it. Hopefully I'm around it for the holidays, but it's just, it is foreign to me now.
We are going to break record highs, I think, tomorrow here in RV City. Hey,
Feels like it.
One of the cool things about RV City is we've got internet connection.
Yep.
We're able to go live on our video feeds and also on the radio on ESPN690. And we want to give a shout-out to Joytel. Go find them at joytel.net. They helped us out, get set up here in RV City. Fiber and fixed wireless solutions for businesses of all sizes. Don't get lost in the masses with big box phone and cable companies. Local solutions from local people, because internet is the most important communications tool in your company, and it's all that they do. Go check out a local provider in Joytel, joytel.net. When we come back, we still have Stay in Your Lane. We got a little more Florida, Georgia, and back to the Jags. We'll update you on everything happening out of Jags headquarters right across the street when we come back.
Action Sports Jags with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A brief shower possible this evening. Otherwise, partly cloudy and warm tonight, only dropping into the low to mid-70s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
ESPN 690. Sports Center update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The trade deadline came and went with no movement from the Jaguars. In fact, the only roster move to speak of is the retirement of Josh Robinson. He's an 8-year cornerback who played on special teams. World Series champ will be named tonight because of this.
And a ball popped up, back of second base. Cabrera is there, calls for it, and makes the catch. And the Washington Nationals have forced Game 7 in as wild a game as you will see.
Clip courtesy of ESPN Radio. The Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros play Game 7 on Fox. The Jags Icemen will take the ice tonight at home. The puck drops at 7 p.m. Tickets are available. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com. The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers wholesale prices with premium service, and TireOutlet.com always has a safety-first focus with locations throughout the First Coast. There's no need to go anywhere else for tires and service.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's Wedding Band BOGO sale. 4 days only, November 7th through the 10th.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martin of Action Sports Jacks. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
What happens when a small business encounters an unplanned interruption such as a client work stoppage or supplier production outage? The impact can be devastating, but help is not far away. SCORE volunteers provide free mentoring to small business entrepreneurs on a wide range of business topics in addition to workshops and online materials. Since 1964, SCORE has been helping thousands of people seeking solutions to critical business issues. If you want to schedule an appointment with one of our counselors, go to jacksonville.score.org.
At Action News Jax, we're here for severe. When storms threaten, put your trust in the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Team, led by Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish, rated the most accurate for the last 13 years.
The First Alert Weather Team is the only team of certified meteorologists in the Jacksonville area. That means we have the most schooling and training to forecast and predict severe weather. And that experience will keep you safe from a storm.
Action News Jax First Alert Weather on CBS 47 and Fox 30.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you.
Okay.
Then you need to be online where they look for you.
Online, huh?
Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for all that. I need to run my business. Alexa, can you help me find someone that can help me with online marketing?
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level so you can get back to running it. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
The DTSP Songwriters Festival is 3 days of music and stories. Over 100 free acoustic performances from over 35 national singer-songwriters like Ed Roland of Collective Soul, the Warren Brothers, John Ford Coley, and a special event with Modest Yahoo. November 1st through the 3rd at beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. Details at DTSPSongwritersFestival.com or like us on Facebook at DTSP Songwriters Festival. Brought to you by Funky Buddha Brewery. Visit St. Pete Clearwater and HD Radio.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with an experienced real estate team with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Minimum fee may apply. Not licensed in all 50 states. Visit rexhomes.com to see if Rex is available in your area. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
Save now at Travel Camp RV with payments as low as $107 a month and no payments for 90 days. It's fall fun season, time to get out with family and friends in an RV from Travel Camp, where you get the guaranteed lowest price every time. Travel Camp specializes in towables, which keeps the costs lower and the prices lower than all the rest. Choose from the best brands for as little as $107 a month with no payments for 90 days. Shop now and save at Travel Camp RV.
There is one name synonymous with joint replacement excellence, and that name is Heekin of the Heekin Clinic. For 18 years, Dr. R. David Heekin and his staff have been the leader for treatment of hip and knee pain. Eliminating hip and knee pain through advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques has been Dr. Heekin's sole goal since retiring from the Army in 2001. If you're looking to ease your hip and knee pain, schedule an appointment today and call 328-5979 or visit HeekinClinic.com. That's HeekinClinic.com.
Halloween is just about here. Plan for the costume and the candy. But let me handle your dinner plans Halloween night. Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Get Renna's Pizza for dinner before the kids go trick-or-treating. There's a Renna's near you. 5 locations: Marsh Landing, Neptune Beach, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, and San Jose. Renna's knows how to take care of your family. They are family-owned and have been in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Get the costumes and candy ready and let Renna's do the pizza on Halloween.
Our partners at BSN Sports, the largest provider of team sports equipment and apparel in the country, would like to thank all of the coaches out there who truly are the heart of the game. While BSN Sports is the best at equipping athletes with a one-stop shop for everything needed to run an athletic program, coaches are the best at equipping lives. And that's the real final score. Learn more about how BSN Sports can save you time off the field so you can impact more lives on it by calling your local BSN Sports sales professional or by visiting bsnsports.com today.
I think Carson Wentz is going to come back and have a resurgent year.
Are you not concerned at all with the lack of depth at quarterback position? They had to rely a lot on Nick Foles. Carson Wentz gets hurt every year.
Not every year.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN690 and ESPN690.com.
No, I think it should be renewed every 2 or 3 years and look at it and see where we are. And it was the case with me when I first came to Georgia. Florida had a real advantage in Jacksonville with the ticket sales. Most of the seats for Florida was on the 50-yard line. When you'd go in, all the ticket takers had Florida hats on. So we tried to get it more neutralized.
Well, that's legendary Georgia coach Vince Dooley, and they've done a great job of neutralizing it. He joined us earlier in the program, Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Our interviews this week brought to you by Palm Beach Autographs in the Avenues Mall. In fact, you can find some Vince Dooley and Georgia memorabilia at Palm Beach Autographs. That was a fun interview.
That was
with
awesome.
87-year-old Vince Dooley, who's making his way down for this football game once again, and he loves it in Jacksonville, and he understands Kirby Smart's point of recruiting, and he gets all sides of it. He said he thinks every few years it should be looked at again, and so I think to that point it probably will be. There's no 20-year contract probably happening here in Jacksonville when it comes to this Florida-Georgia game. And we'll always have the topic and the conversation. And you know what that really would be and mean? I think, continue to say this, that it's more posturing for both sides to maybe get a little bit more cash out of the deal. Right now, they'll make $9 million every 2 years, these programs. Whereas a home game, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution from an article last week when the agreement was reached, they make $3.8 million every 2 years.
Of course.
From that SEC home game. So they've equaled a lot of things. They've raised the money for both programs. They give more travel dollars now to Georgia than they do for Florida, since they got to come down on the charter and not just drive over from Gainesville like the Gators can. They have done a good job of making this a neutral site game as much as possible. Hey, we see it here in RV City, man.
Yeah.
Look at all the Georgia fans. We'll see all the Georgia fans come from St. Simon's Island throughout the state of Georgia, and the ones that live here in Northeast Florida and beyond. So I think it does get that feel, and, of course, the half and half in the stadium on Saturday. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, having a good time at RV City, man.
Yeah, man, this is quite the scene, you know, and I can only expect it's going to get more packed tomorrow and then the following day. So this is a cool environment, man. We have our own RV, we have our own slingshot. Like, this is not what I was envisioning. I thought we were going to come in here with 2 chairs and a table and call it a day, and we have and as these people are recognizing, we are all set to party if we want to party, although we have to work, unfortunately. But this is a cool scene over here.
Yeah, it's really fun. And by the way, this is the quiet day. Like, it's going to get even more fun. And we'll be here Thursday and Friday. And tomorrow we have our Action Sports Jacks Game of the Week on ESPN690. So we'll kind of cut it in half a little bit. And I got to get over to Mandarin for a 6 o'clock kickoff. But we'll finagle that. We'll have some more guests. Scott Strickland scheduled to join us, the Florida Gators AD, and others tomorrow. And I don't want to tell you exactly who, because I want to make sure we get the interviews first. But it could be a couple of quarterbacks in this famous series as well. And more guests coming up on Friday as well, too. And you mentioned it. We have this slingshot from Polaris, and we continue to see other Polaris vehicles. There's a Polaris location out in Fleming Island. In fact, we're going to do our show live from there next week. But there's this really cool thing going on. Everybody keeps stopping by. We keep thinking they want to take a picture with us.
Yeah.
But they actually want to take a picture with the slingshot, which is a vehicle that I'm supposed to, like, drive home today.
Which is, I mean, good luck to you, I guess. I mean, I hope you're confident driving a stick shift.
Yes,
you should
it's been a while. I learned to drive on a stick shift.
Okay, there you go then. Yeah, I feel like as all kids should learn how to drive on a stick shift.
Know.
Oh, not anymore. No, come on now.
I mean, how do you drive a stick shift and text and drive? That's gonna
Good
be hard.
call. Well, if anything, maybe a stick shift would combat the texting and driving.
Well, I'm kidding here.
Oh, I got
saying
you.
Yes,
I got you.
It might be helpful.
Yeah, it might be helpful.
Actually, that all cars had a stick shift, so then you wouldn't text and drive.
Exactly. I like your style.
That's maybe a good way to go. But one of the reasons we have the Polaris slingshot out here is because there's a chance for you to win. This is a Gator mobile.
Yes.
And this one they actually use it for the Gator walks at home games in Gainesville. And they have a contest going on. It's a sweepstakes where fans can visit PolarisSlingshot.com and get the ultimate joyride powered by Slingshot. And they ride this thing, lead the charge on the Gator Walk, and also get a couple of tickets to that game. There's a couple more home games coming up in Gainesville. So enter and win at PolarisSlingshot.com. Having a lot of fun out here at RV City. People going by, playing their music on all different kinds of vehicles. We're telling our friends back home, see, we told you so. You got to come down here.
Yeah.
We got an RV from Travel Camp.
Yep.
We got everybody helping out. And Koo's back there in the studio. I've got a big question for you. And I wonder how this question will change Sunday afternoon into Monday. But I'm a little fearful that we go back to the Houston game and we don't talk about the Ramsey outburst with Marone or the lack of a challenge flag. But we do talk about one play in that game that could have huge ramifications on this football season, and that is the two-point conversion.
Yeah.
The two-point conversion failed. I think a lot of people at this time now, months later, a month and a half later, and a couple wins later, kind of forget, right? The table's now set for this Houston game. And it's okay to lose at Houston on the road. It happens. That's in a division. They're a good football team. But it's how it happened. And should the Jags have sent the game to overtime? I think a lot of people said, hey, no problem going for two. Didn't like the play call at all. With Minshew had the hot hand. They decide to run. They don't get it. And didn't keep it in Minshew's hands with the ability to either make a play in the passing game or go run, right? If we go back to 6 weeks ago, that's what everybody was talking about.
Of course, and listen, Minshew, like the whole Minshew mania, it was still in its infancy in Houston, right? Like we didn't know exactly what it was going to become. But what we did know was the fact that Minshew was leading drives. He was kind of orchestrating a game-winning drive, to win the ball game.
Comeback. They were down 13-3.
And I get it. I think even if you still ask people, people are going to tell you that the Jaguars, they're still a run-oriented first team and pass second. And I get it putting the ball in Leonard Fournette's hands to try to win the ball game. I can understand that, but in my opinion, it's kind of like my philosophy right now with the quarterback situation between Nick Foles and Gardner Minshew. You have to put the ball in the guy that has the hot hand. And, in Houston, Minshew had the hot hand. And I think if you're a Jaguars fan, and I get it, hindsight's 20/20. We're still sitting here talking about it. Why didn't they pass it? Why didn't they do something different? Yeah, and it's easy to say. If Fournette would have scored a touchdown, genius play call right there, right? Jaguars win. We're not talking about it. But let's be honest, though. I think as Jaguars fans, I think that if Minshew would have had the ball in his hand for that two-point conversion and maybe overthrew somebody, maybe got sacked, threw an incompletion, whatever the reason was, I think Jaguars fans would have sat with that a little better than handing the ball off, getting stuffed, and losing that ball game.
Well, and here's the deal. At the end of the day, again, you got to make some calls like that. I thought it was a gutsy call at 0-1 in the division, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. And because it didn't work, it didn't make it the right play some way or another, whether it was the call or the decision. Mm-hmm. It didn't work. And when you look back at this season, depending on what goes on here and how this plays out, that could end up being a critical play. I think most people, my point in this conversation is, I think a lot of people have forgotten about that play. And that was a play that either sends you into overtime, and you know what? You go to overtime and maybe you tie the football game, but a tie is better than a loss. Well, and I know you don't play for the tie. I'm just saying.
No.
In the standings at the end of the day with wild card on the line and AFC South on the line, a tie might make a difference in the season.
Well, and to be fair, too, if you're going to go to overtime, the Jaguars had all the momentum.
They did.
Right? They just had that great drive. Minshew's leading with his legs and his arm. The Jaguars had all the momentum. Now, who knows what's going to happen with that defense? I mean, once again, hindsight's 20/20. But at least even if you did kick the extra point, you go to overtime, you like your chances, even though you're on the road, but you still have the momentum.
And I think you brought it up. You said you don't see if they had to make that decision last week. I think they say, you know what, we're confident with Gardner Minshew in overtime. Mm-hmm. Let's go beat you in overtime. They really didn't know what they had in Gardner Minshew. And one thing we've got to be a little careful of, they were trying to steal a win. They were down 13-3 in the fourth quarter. It was one of those games where it felt like they were really being dominated. The young QB was struggling. The offense was struggling. They were like, it wasn't a great game. We put this compilation together on Minshew, and we now say he's played 6 out of 8 games really, really well. Well, if you deep dive into the Houston game, I'm not sure he was really, really good in the Houston game. He was really, really good in the final couple of possessions of the Houston game.
Yeah,
and that was the money time.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, from Doug Marrone's perspective, we really didn't know a whole heck of a lot that Minshew was going to be Minshew Mania and 5-3 potentially as a starter after this coming week if he wins. All those things that go into it. So in fairness to Marrone, he's trying to steal a win on the road, and that's why I think a lot of people didn't have a problem with it. It was the play call that they had a problem with, and I almost wonder though, to that point, as I'm talking out loud about it, that because he now has a resume of Minshew, he has a good feel for what he brings. If he would have been willing, even on the road, to go to overtime and say, hey, I don't mind my chances with the young QB in overtime, even if it is on the road, Houston, and against Deshaun Watson, all those things. And I think another thing to bring up, that offensive line was a little bit of an eyesore at that time in week number 2. It wasn't playing the way it is right now.
It was, and it also begs the question, if you're John DeFilippo, do you change up the play call and you put it in Minshew's hands a little bit?
Well, and I think that's a guarantee. You know why? Yeah. Even they said it. Well, because it didn't work. So, of course, you would have done differently.
Yeah, because to be fair, and I get it, the quarterback position, it is a double standard position, but at the same time, regardless of what quarter it's in, if you get a wide receiver who starts to get on a hot streak a little bit, if you get a running back, that has a couple nice games, what are you going to do? You're going to keep feeding him the ball. You're going to go with a hot hand. And I think at that last drive, granted, Minshew maybe not had the best overall game. He was showing glimpses of brilliance on that last drive where it's like, I just feel like you keep riding that momentum, and either you go, put the ball in his hands for the 2-point conversion, or you have confidence in your defense and Gardner Minshew if you get the ball back first and you go down in overtime and win the game.
Hey, if you're making plans for this week, just want to remind you, Duval's Bold City Bash here at the Florida-Georgia game. It's the ultimate Florida-Georgia fan experience. The Bash encompasses nearly a week of fan-centric interactive events, and they've been doing it around here since 1933. Not necessarily Duval's Bold City Bash, but the game, of course. And festivities are already underway, but just some things to highlight. The Hall of Fame luncheon and ceremony coming up at noon at TIAA Bank East Club. Tickets are presented by R.J. Young. They begin at $60. Duval's Bold City Bash Fanfare at Daly's Place, right across the street here. Friday, 1 to 10, and Saturday, 10 a.m. until 3:30. And then there's a block party, a baseball game at the baseball grounds Friday night between the Gators and the Dogs. There's also a concert right after that with fireworks. I mean, we got everything going on. And then, of course, RV City in itself is a party all day long, all week long. And that's where we, of course, are hanging out. When we come back, a thought or two on the football game, Florida, Georgia, stay in your lane, and a prediction for the World Series Game 7 tonight. Who is going to win the World Series? Our thoughts next on ESPN 690.
The ESPN 690 High School Football Game of the Week. Every Friday, hear a local high school football play-by-play.
This will be a 35-yard attempt with rain coming down against the snap, the hold. The kick is up. It is no good. The kick looked like a beauty. In fact, nobody knew from our angle if it was good or not.
You can hear the games by listening in your car to ESPN 690 or find the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Just search ESPN 690 Jax.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website vidadelouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to vidadelouis.com. Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jax. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jax. Thank you for making ESPN 690 the fastest-growing sports station in Jacksonville. Everyone is loving our in-depth coverage of the Jaguars, the NFL, and all things sports. Another thing our listeners will love, your business. Let's work together and get you on the fastest-growing sports station in Northeast Florida. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 904-245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
Honda of the Avenues introduces model year-end savings on our hottest 2019 Honda models. Right now, get 0% financing on 2019 Accord, Civic, CR-V, Pilot, and Odyssey for up to 60 months. You heard right, 0% financing for up to 60 months at Honda of the Avenues, the Honda Giant.
0% for 60 months on 2019 new non-titled models only. Must be approved on tiers 1 through 8 through AHFC. All sales prices are plus tax, tag, registration, and dealer fee of $898. Maximum $30,000 finance before optional business office products. Cannot combine offers. Offer ends 10/31/19.
Shop the 904.
We're local, you're local, shop local. This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Local businesses are also the ones who give more back to the community by supporting local charities and sponsoring your kids' sports teams.
This holiday season, when you shop the 904, you're also giving the gift of helping your local community stay unique.
Sure, it's tempting to try to save a few bucks shopping the giant online or national retailers, but those few bucks you save would do more for our local economy if you shop local.
Shop the 904 and help keep our community unique.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group. Visit shopthe904.com.
Are you looking for the best wings around? I found the place. Listen up. Hey, everyone, it's Brent Martineau. Mr. Chubby's Wings is awesome. 2 locations, the West Side and in Fleming Island. They are a part of the community, too. Mr. Chubby's Wings wants to wish all of the high school teams good luck this fall. They've been supporting youth athletics for a decade. Get ready for the game at Mr. Chubby's. Celebrate the big win at Mr. Chubby's. Chub it up with the best wings around. Mr. Chubby's Wings on the west side and in Fleming Island.
Get your Florida Georgia weekend started with Golic and Wingo live in Jacksonville Friday, November 1st at Intuition Ale Works on Bay Street. Come join us for our live show from 6 to 10, where you can hear our show live on ESPN Jacksonville 690. Golic and Wingo live from Intuition Ale Works, November 1st, 6 through 10.
It's me, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, the king of bada bing. This is Action Sports Jax. Bang!
You're talking about a guy that's a Hall of Fame player. That's a great football player. And they have other players on that defense that are also great players, and I just think they step up and play well. They're really good football players. I think they'll rally. They'll step up. We'll get the best of what they have to offer. So, that's how I look at it. It's unfortunate because you always like competing against great players, and J.J. Watt's, Defensive Player of the Year and Hall of Fame player, and I have a ton of respect for him and the rest of the guys on that defense.
Yeah, I think Doug Marrone certainly means that, too. There's a part of you that likes to catch a break, right?
Yeah.
If you need a win, you catch a break. You're not going to apologize in hindsight for it. But I do think all athletes, and I like sports when everybody's there. And I think it's interesting because I think DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt are two guys that, if you live around here, you'd like to really despise and dislike. Mm-hmm. Yet I think they're two very likable guys, two very likable stories. And I know people will be mad at me for saying that, but, they're great players. And I think they're pretty good people, too, and they represent themselves really well. And so Deshaun Watson's kind of in that boat. Listen, I'm a Red Sox fan. Yeah. I had to deal with that with the Yankees. That Yankees clubhouse, like in the late 90s, they had a lot of good dudes on that Yankees team. It's hard
Jeter,
not to
man,
like
it's impossible not to like Jeter.
Yeah, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada. Guys like that. David Cohn, to this day, I will say if somebody says who's like the nicest person you've ever met or interviewed, it might be David Cohn. Now, it's a very small sample. It's just an experience, and I don't know if I've ever met a nicer person that I've interviewed than David Cohn, believe it or not.
Awesome.
And so he's the answer to that question, maybe for me.
There you go.
So I get what Doug Marrone is saying. That being said, he'll take any advantage he can get to get W's in the NFL as well, and those guys being without J.J. Watt is an advantage for this offensive line, for Jawan Taylor, for Gardner Minshew, for Leonard Fournette, and for everything else, and from a game planning standpoint, too. Brett Martineau, Austin Lane here in RV City, and we want to thank Travel Camp for being a part of this and teaming up with us, and we're so excited to be able to do these shows in RV City. At least I am. And
I'm with you.
Tomorrow and Friday we'll be here as well. And now we get to go tell everybody, man, we got to come on out. Got to go party with us. Now, we can't really party. Well, you can. I can't. Well, you can't either because you got a fight
coming up. Yeah.
I just have work. That's it.
That's the excuse.
Take a day off and just party it up a little bit.
Just find someone to run the board. I'll come and do the partying.
Well, yeah. Well, we already know you're coming to party on Saturday.
I'm sure he's already partying as we speak now.
We already know that's about to happen. But thanks to Travel Camp for this is a cool RV here that we are hanging out in. We call it home for the next few days, and we'll use it on the TV side as well on CBS 47 and Fox 30 as home base this week for Florida-Georgia week. Save now at Travel Camp RV. Payments as low as $107 a month. No payments for 90 days. So shop and save at Travel Camp RV. A quick correction. Mine, you know him, but I'll just say buddy of mine, texted in and said, hey, that was an RPO on the two-point conversion with Minshew. Even though he gave it. And I remember now, I kind of remember those conversations, and I remember the breakdowns after.
Yeah.
And it was, and I remember thinking, too, that just felt like a run the whole time.
Yeah.
Well,
and to be fair, if it was an RPO, but keep in mind the offensive coordinator, in this case, or it's the head coach for the Rams, like, they still lean the quarterback of what to do, because they have so long where they can talk to him in the headset and be like, all right, here's what the defense has, do this, do that. So, yeah, I'm sure at the end of the day it's still Gardner Minshew's decision, but he had some influence by John DeFilippo.
Yeah, so going back to that play, just bringing it up and what kind of impact that could have. I tell you what, you swallow it a little bit easier if you're able to get a W on Sunday against Houston. Such a massive game. We'll talk more about it over the next couple of days. Speaking of massive games, before we get to stay in your lane, this is a huge game. This is an interesting game. I was looking up some Georgia statistics. They haven't given up more than 20 points at all this year yet. Yeah, they lost to South Carolina. They lose 20-17 in overtime, but that was more of an offense that fluttered, and we're going to dissect that at the Wall That Says It All a bit tomorrow. We'll also highlight Kyle Trask and what the Gators need to do, and just to kind of preview it a bit, the big thing that most people feel like in this football game is, can the Gators try to make Georgia one-dimensional? Can the Gators stop the run?
Yeah.
And they didn't do that against South Carolina in terms of stopping the run, but they were without guys like Zuniga and Grenard. And many people believe those two going back in and being a part of this game will be a huge difference in that category.
Yeah, exactly. The Florida Gators, it's weird, Brent, because I think the Florida Gators' biggest job is to stop the run, and I get it. That's what I pretty much say every single game that I'm breaking down, but it's important.
Yeah, there's
against
an exclamation
this Georgia,
point here.
There is,
though.
because it's important against this Georgia Bulldogs team, because, listen, if you were to show me the recruiting classes for the past 2-3 years, I would say, the Georgia Bulldogs probably one of the most explosive teams in the nation right now, probably one of the teams with the biggest big play potential. For whatever reason, they haven't done that this year. No. Those big plays are lacking, and they have an experienced quarterback. They have probably the best offensive line in the nation. So for me to sit here and say, Georgia's they're having problems with the big plays, to me it doesn't make much sense at all. And I really don't know who to put the blame on. But what's important is the fact that if that is the case for the Georgia Bulldogs, well, then you have to look at yourselves and be like, you know what? We can't hit that home run ball all the time, so we have to slow the game down a little bit and win in the trenches. That's what they've been doing this year a lot, especially wearing teams out by the time the fourth quarter hits. If you go back to that Florida game a little bit, South Carolina was able to run the ball against them. Florida was looking worn out on some of those plays where they were lacking pursuit. They were lacking the discipline. Now, they weren't full strength like they probably will be for this game, but it's something to keep in mind if you're the Florida Gators of winning in the trenches, especially on defense.
I think you hit it. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. We break it down at the Wall That Says It All. We also have Scott Strickland on the show tomorrow, the Florida AD, who's obviously heavily involved in keeping this game here. Yeah. But I think there are some fascinating storylines with Strickland, and we'll talk to him tomorrow about it, from facilities to him reaching out on social media about scheduling to hiring Dan Mullen, and even the basketball program now, top 10 in the country to begin the year. So good things happening at Florida. All right, stay in your lane. What you got?
Stay in your lane. Hit me with it, Coos. All right, Brent. So we've been kind of talking this whole week about the wrestling pay-per-view taking place in Saudi Arabia. WWE Crown Jewel is taking place tomorrow. And one of the big stories, obviously, is that the women cannot wrestle there. Well, it was handed down this morning that, in fact, there will be the first ever women's match featuring Lacey Evans and Natalya taking place in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, they're going to do it.
They're going to do it as far as we know right now. Now we'll see if they stay true to that word. We'll see what the response is like in Saudi Arabia, especially with that crowd. But all things considered, right now the WWE has announced that there will indeed be their first ever women's match with Lacey Evans and Natalya. So, which is kind of interesting because it's not like their biggest names, but it's somebody. So there you go.
All right, how about pump your brakes?
Oh, pump your brakes, Brent. So we kind of teased it a little bit. Alex Bregman, go ahead and give me some audio real quick.
Well, I just let my emotions get the best of me. It's not how I was raised to play the game, and I just let my emotions get the best of me, and I'm sorry for doing that.
So that was Alex Bregman talking about, obviously, as he hit his home run, kind of grabbed the bat a little longer than he probably should have, trotting down the first base line, and then throws it when he got to first base. Listen, Alex, in my opinion, dude, don't apologize for things that you shouldn't apologize for. And I guarantee, he seemed very humble there. But, come on, he's not sorry, dude. This is the new school era of baseball. If they would have won the game, that would have been the highlight. That would have capped up the whole season right there. They didn't win the game. I think it was DeSoto.
Juan Soto.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Juan Soto did the same thing then with holding the bat and everything. But, listen, that's a great highlight to me. It's good fun. I get it. Brent, you're kind of the old school guy. Not sure how you feel about it, but I was a big fan.
I think there's a line, and I think, listen, Bregman is a great player, and I like the Astros, so I don't hate Bregman.
Yeah.
But if I don't like the Astros, he's one of those guys you hate.
Yeah.
Like Euclid for the Red Sox back in the day, he's one of those guys that you hate. There's just always that guy. Like for me right now, for the Yankees, it's Brett Gardner, even though he's a good player and he's a cool story and he's a try-hard guy and an overachiever guy. I can't stand the guy. Yeah. So there's always those guys that you don't like. And Bregman is that guy because he is as arrogant as they come. And I like both these teams, so it's okay. But he shouldn't have done that. That was too much. In fact, Altuve, I think, in the dugout even said something to him after. And I think that's why he apologized after the game. But there would be no retaliations or anything like that. The games are too big right now. Speaking of, good segue, who wins tonight?
Man, go ahead and give me the Astros, Brent. Max Scherzer, he's come off the injury. How far is he going to last for? Obviously, it's the last game of the season, regardless what happens. So they're throwing everything they got at him, but I think Scherzer's going to get shelled a little bit. I like the Astros.
7 for 7. All the road teams win. Nationals will get it done tonight with Max Scherzer on the mound. Thanks for joining us from RV City. I'm heading over to Mellow Mushroom in Avondale. We'll see you there. Jaguars All Access, Fox 30, Calais Campbell, AJ Boye. We'll do it again tomorrow on ESPN 690.
Want to hear something crazy? Last month, our friends at Arlington Toyota offered prices up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. Want to hear something really crazy? Arlington is extending the sale. The 2020 Super Sales Event has been extended at Arlington Toyota. So come in today and pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. That's up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander, it's not $35,000. Now it's only $24,688. Yeah, $24,688 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington Toyota. How about a Toyota RAV4? It's not $29,865. No way. It's just $21,888. $21,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota RAV4 at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you get Arlington's $5,000 Advantage Club and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. A champion will be crowned tonight in Houston. The Nationals and Astros clash in Game 7 of the World Series. Max Scherzer, who missed his Game 5 start with neck spasms, gets the call against Zach Greinke in a matchup of former Cy Young winners. And there are several questions when it comes to Scherzer, notes ESPN's Tim Kirkchin.
Is he